that have to step up.
Yeah.
And it's not to say that there is no talent in Kentucky.
We're
like
live
Kentucky.
now, so guys. We're live.
Cool. Oh, cool.
Yeah, we're live on Rinky Dink Bullshit podcast page. Johnny, post that on our regular page. I don't know why we're not. We can't. It won't come up the other page for some reason.
Oh, that's Facebook for you. You can do a lot of things right, and Facebook will find some way to try to stick it to you. But yeah, wrestling has lost a lot of their OGs here in Kentucky.
We're definitely live on YouTube, Twitch, X, all the other ones. But we're not live on our page. I guess I'll go back and post it later.
That's all right.
We are live on the Rinky Dink Bullshit podcast page.
Just shared that one. I'm going over to X now.
Hell yeah. But yeah, Kentucky's lost a lot of the great OGs.
And it's nice to see that Kentucky wrestling's I think Kentucky wrestling's in a good spot right now. Because that wasn't always the case for a while. You know, nobody wants to openly admit it, but man, for a little bit, Kentucky wrestling was struggling.
Yeah, I think so too. I think we tried to help that.
Man, you had a lot of great Kentucky talent that didn't want to wrestle in Kentucky anymore. You started to have internationally known talent from Kentucky that were not getting their Kentucky licenses, and a lot of guys that were once super Kentucky heavy or super Kentucky proud didn't necessarily feel the need to still be here anymore, and they went other places, and more power to them. And obviously that's the goal, is to be able to get out and to be able to travel. But I think for a while, a lot of Kentucky guys felt like they didn't want to come wrestle in Kentucky. Like there wasn't a reason for them to.
Yeah.
And at the time it was understandable. But here over the past couple of years, Kentucky's been doing some awesome things. OVW's doing their thing. Larry and those guys at Generation is that they're doing phenomenal. Rogers still holding down Northern Kentucky with NWF. New South Wrestling. I think they're on a little bit of a hiatus right now, but Anthony was doing great things.
I think he said he's going to do a few less shows. He's not going to do a show every month. He's going to go more with the 3 or 4 big shows a year, which I think is
he'll be back.
Pretty smart.
But I mean, you've had other people, who have emerged over the last year or two. Allied Pro Wrestling, that runs out closer to the Corbin area. EWA, Frankfurt, old stomping grounds of mine. I think Frankfurt's where I first started meeting y'all.
Yep.
I think I originally met y'all down in Frankfurt.
Yeah, we came down there and watched you down there with we had the
when it was KPW.
KPW,
yeah. So I mean,
it's all
kinds
about
of good
building
things
relationships.
have been happening, here in Kentucky wrestling, and it's been dope to fucking see.
That's right, because for the longest time, people forgot that Kentucky was the hub of wrestling.
Man.
We had Macho Man Ray Savage wrestling here. ICW, all the greats.
Kentucky, Louisville especially, and that's the dope thing about being from Louisville. I'm going to repost this on X, on Twitter. Yeah. But I can't look. I don't even like Twitter.
Yeah.
So I definitely can't get behind the fact that it's X now. It's look, I just now accepted Twitter, and you asked me to change it. No, you're
I
still
think
Twitter,
what they're
buddy.
trying to do over there at X is make it just where you can just go and say whatever you want to over there, because
what's weird is that when
you freedom of speech completely over there.
What's weird is that when it's called X, you don't think about Twitter. You're thinking about it's a porn site. Because X.
And maybe that's what Elon wanted. That may have been smart. Maybe that's what he was going for.
Yeah,
It's hey, we're gonna end up with some edgy crossover here.
There's a lot of porn on there.
There is.
There's a lot of porn on there.
Think about it, he had X already inside his mind for anything they own. So as soon as he got Twitter, he's like, fuck Twitter, I'm going to make it X.
I mean, there is a lot of porn on X, but it's on 8-second clips. What am I supposed to do in 8 seconds?
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, I guess you gotta pile them on top of each other. You gotta pile them X.
You just throwing 8-second clips.
Yeah, you gotta pile them 8-second clips on top of each other.
Man, you gotta almost be ready and then open it, and it's all right,
that's the one right there.
And that was all his idea right there.
Yeah,
he knew exactly what he was doing.
I get on there, and I'm like, the porn comes up and not that one, not that one, not that one, not that one. Then you're there for an hour. You're like, not that one, not that. I've been looking for the right clip for an hour now.
I mean, look, you got to be selective about your porn just in case somebody accidentally finds.
Yeah.
You never want to be judged off of your porn history or your porn search, so you got to make sure that it's a nice, clean history to where if somebody finds it, they go look at you and be like, oh, that's what you into.
Oh yeah,
this is what we like around here.
We get our fans. Our fans will go over there and look at our thing, and we're like, they're looking at our ex, and they're like, "Oh man, Nice Guy Andy's like this one porn thing." It's like, yeah, I liked it, but like, if you're going to be over on X, man, you might as well just like, hey, that's what I go to X for: wrestling and porn and
we're not
my political beliefs.
Somebody in the WWE, either like currently or a WWE legend, got called out for that.
Devon Dudley.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He had a lot of it liked.
Devon Dudley had a whole lot of porn clips.
Yeah.
on Twitter.
Hey, they check us out. They're probably going to see Johnny's got a lot, and I've got a lot over there.
Mine ain't porn. It's
hey,
it's
I got to.
It's not porn.
I got to where I comment on it sometimes. I'm like, how's she doing that?
I just got there.
You're the guy in the comment section on the porn. Oh my god!
I've commented on it sometimes. I try to crack jokes on it sometimes, and I'm like, it's like
the wildest thing in the world to me. Because every once in a while, my mind just can't help it. It's like, you know what? All right, let's go to the comment section.
Yeah.
And I always regret it. But I've seen arguments. I've seen fights in the comment section of porn video, and I'm like, what are y'all fighting over right now?
Exactly.
Are we doing this?
Porn.
Are we really fighting in the porn comment section?
Justin Daniel Hickerson said, if we talking about porn, ask Omega about the porn combo in North Carolina. What about that combo, Omega?
Pass. Pass. Next question. That's what that is.
Right.
we can't talk too much about porn.
Yeah, we can't.
Justin.
If we was just on X, we could say whatever the hell we wanted
Yeah, because
Man.
Elon Musk must like that X.
I'll tell you what, if there's somebody that y'all want on this podcast with some stories, Justin, that's my homie Justin Storm. He's got an alter ego that people in Kentucky know. I don't know if it's known that that's the alter ego, so I'm not going to speak on it. But you've met him, you just didn't know you met him. But Justin has
Is he a wrestler
some incredible
too?
stories. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I think
Like
did he
I
call
said,
in here last time he was on here?
He wrestles as an alter ego. He's someone y'all have met. Y'all, I don't know if you know that you've met him. Kind of like Peter Parker and Spider-Man.
Yep.
Like you've met Spider-Man, but you didn't know when he was Peter Parker.
Yep.
Yeah.
You've met him. You've talked to him. You've shaken his hand. You just didn't know who he was.
Okay.
We'll have
But
to
like
give me.
Justin's got some great fucking stories about wrestling, about wrestling and like in wrestling and outside of wrestling.
Yeah.
And me and that dude, somebody that, like I said, we took his trip to North Carolina, and that was like one of my first. It's like one of my first like road trips for wrestling, like one of my first like long distance like destination bookings, and like that whole trip just. It's like something out of a movie. Like just the most obscure, random shit happened.
Ain't that awesome?
And it was
When
great,
that happens,
yeah. And like those always end up making for the best kind of trips. But like, nah, okay. And Storm, I really hope you're still watching because I'm gonna tell the story. Camera's right there. I'm gonna tell the story, Storm, because I'm on your shot. I'm on your side. Shotzi Blackheart owes Justin Storm money.
Okay.
Because Justin Storm was the first person to ever hop in one of those little kiddie tanks and be like, I am definitely going to use this for a wrestling entrance. Because no joke, we're in North Carolina. He's in the little bitty tank. He's like, oh, yeah, I'm absolutely getting one of these when we get back home. And I'm used to make all my entrances in. And not too far from there, all of a sudden, here's Shotzi Blackheart. And here she comes down to the ring and attack.
There's no way
He was so
mad. She knew that he did that.
He was so angry. I mean, and again, obviously, like you said, there's no way.
Yeah.
But Storm, I'm still on your side, man. That's
That's
you
your thing, man. It's your gimmick.
You are entitled to compensation.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna use the word reparations.
Justin Storm needs his money back.
But yeah, Justin, if you're still watching, like you should have
he
paid for
is.
that, brother.
He's down here, baby.
Ah, yeah.
And Eric Montgomery said, "AK
Oh,
DJ
God.
Easy." He said, "Bring back Cowboy Omega."
Cowboy Omega was a one-time thing, Eric. We talked about this. One time.
Cowboy Omega. I think that, yeah. Did you wear a cowboy hat?
Yeah,
and cowboy boots?
Man, no, so
was
like
you on Tony Corral's team?
So down in New South one time, I picked up somebody's cowboy. I don't even remember whose it was. But I put on somebody's cowboy hat, and I just sort of like leaned around the corner, and like I don't even remember who I was talking to, but like DJ Eric's over here, and I put on the cowboy hat, and I was like, "Howdy, bitch," and then I like disappeared right behind the curtain, and he was like, "Yo, Cowboy Omega, that should be a thing," and I was like, no, it's not."
Yeah.
I remember that episode too because we were there.
Oh man, but like, yeah, that was a fun trip.
I think you picked up Carson Drake's cowboy hat.
Carson Drake.
Carson Drake. We was just talking about him.
Yeah,
It's still just wild to me. One day Carson randomly just decided he wanted to be a cowboy. Like he was gonna be a cowboy, and he became a cowboy, and then one day he just wasn't a cowboy no more.
He's like, this ain't working. I ain't
Yeah,
gonna be a
no,
cowboy.
it was like, he was doing his thing, and we let him do his thing, and then he stopped doing his thing. We just never talked about it.
You gotta,
One day
you
we're
gotta
gonna bring it up. I was
experiment.
like, hey,
you know?
anybody remember that one time Carson was a cowboy?
the
Average
only one
farm
that,
remembers.
the only one that would remember would be DJ Easy.
Well, we know
Carson
Carson Drake's down there at NWA now. Does he still?
Yeah,
do
man.
y'all still talking?
Oh yeah, man, that's my little brother.
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
locked in for life.
Yeah.
You know, extremely proud of him. It's one of those things we always knew. It was never.
Everybody said it.
It was never a if with Carson. It was always a win and a where.
Everybody said it.
Yeah.
Everybody said it.
And I mean, it's so dope to actually see. I love seeing good things happen to my friends. I love I love seeing good things happen to good people. But again, Carson was legit like my little brother. I met him when he was an 18-year-old kid that threw his life into a car and drove, 2,000 miles to the other side of the country, because he wanted to do this thing. And now he has a signed contract at the highest level to do this thing.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
Love that kid to death, man.
I don't think he's going to stop at NWA. I think
no.
he'll go straight up to. He'll end up in AEW.
If he don't get signed by
WWE.
either of the big two, then something's wrong because that kid's
Absolutely.
got the talent.
Well, there's TNA down too. So
yeah, TNA as well. Big three.
MWA and was it MWA?
NWA.
No, the other
Oh,
one.
the other one.
MLW.
MLW.
But I'm running.
Ohio Valley Wrestling's getting big too.
Yeah.
But I'm just one of them people, man. I'm honestly more excited, like, when my homies accomplish things than I've ran for my own. Like, people bring up my accomplishments to me. I'm like, yeah. But then, like, when my homies will do something, it's like, oh, shit, you get to wrestle so-and-so.
right?
You done did this and you did that. Like, I don't know. To me, it's always cooler and more fun to be able to, like, celebrate with the homies than it is to pat yourself on the back.
Yeah.
I got short arms.
That's
I can only
somebody
reach
else's.
back here so far.
That's somebody else's job to pat you on the back.
It is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I love putting over the homies. I love celebrating and stuff with the homies. I remember when Blake got signed. It was dope because Blake had gotten signed. Alex Zane got signed not too far after that.
Alex Zane's awesome.
And Zane is
He's a show stealer.
and he is one of the most humble people I've ever met in my entire life.
Yeah, I've talked to him a couple times. He's an awesome guy.
Oh, dude, even still, every once in a while I'll get an idea or I'll have something marinate and I've been sitting on. I'll shoot Alex a message. He's other side of the country. And whenever he sees it, he always gets back to me immediately, and he gives me a full, detailed answer. He doesn't give me, the little bullshit, I'm busy, partial answer. He literally, you can tell, he takes his time and, thoughtfully writes shit out. Yeah. And then, he's always like, hey, and when you try this, let me know. Send it to me. Let me know how this went. Let me know how this went.
I'm gonna
He's
keep
that kind of guy, man. He's
I work with his cousin at UPS where I work at, and I've been there 21 years. I've been working here. Y'all can come and visit me at UPS if y'all want. But anyway, I work with his cousin, Alex Zane's cousin, Eric, and I've talked to Alex Zane a couple times. He said he'd come on the podcast if he ever is here. So I'm gonna try to catch him here at some point.
He's in Japan though.
Man, that part you literally got to catch him. That's the thing. You got to physically catch him, trap him, and bring him into the.
I know he comes back
brothers
here because
just-
I've seen him in his pocket in his post on Facebook. He's putting L8 in his trunk, so I know he comes to Kentucky.
Justin said to ask you about the gripper. He still got that cocoa butter for your knees and elbows.
So we did this thing. We're in a hotel after the show, and we had done this thing early in the day where we went to it was an antique store or a peddler's mall type deal.
Just wasting time.
Yeah, and we were all like, oh, you know what we should do? Everybody should get something that costs $5 or less for somebody else. When we get back to the hotel, you got to cut a promo with it. So we all went and got different stuff for people to do promos with.
Fun.
Carson Drake, matter of fact, Carson Drake's story. Carson was given a like a rolling pin, and he cut a promo as in the worst Italian accent you've ever heard in your life, and he gave himself the name Pasta Figlione, and that might be the greatest gimmick name I've ever heard of in my life. He just randomly cut this promo, this horrible accent. He's like, "Oh, it's Pasta Figlione," and we're like, "What the fuck did he just call himself?" But the one that Justin gave me, it was like these. I don't know if it was like a melon baller or an old school like ice cream scooper, but it looked like it looked like scissors, but it had like scoops on the end of it that like looked like you used to like pinch something off with, like to grip something with.
Yeah, I've seen that.
And I don't know why, but sort of like Carson's horrible Italian accent, I just randomly start talking in a Jamaican accent, and I call myself the Gripper.
The Gripper.
But I'm doing it in like the worst Jamaican accent you've ever heard in your life. So I'm like, it's the Gripper here, and I'm gonna. And it was just, I don't even remember the shit that I was saying, but I remember looking over at Storm. He's on his side, bloodshot red, and he's a ginger, so he's already red. So he's like red at this point. Like damn near about to piss himself. And it was just we cut the dumbest promos with the dumbest shit, but it was so much fun.
Yeah.
He's over about to pee himself. Carson randomly catches a nosebleed. He's laughing so hard. Like it just we look over and like Carson's just covered in blood. We're like, bro, you're bleeding. He's like, yeah, I know. We're like, why? He was like, because it was funny. It's like, oh, okay. Weird reaction to humor, Carson, but here we are.
I know before the podcast we were talking about taking like an elbow off the top of rope from a big guy. You want to explain that again?
So basically it was like elbow drops aren't as nearly as terrifying to me
because
as
we
leg
just
drops
seen
are.
you take one like when we was watching the YouTube here. You took one from
now Damien's elbow drop that he gets up there, and again Damien just projects so much menace naturally. Yeah. That he's a little bit different. But, most guys dropping the elbow, it's like, yeah, okay, there it is. Leg drops off the top always terrified me more than, somebody coming down with the elbow.
Uh-huh. Because most of their body's not going to land on you.
Yeah. Or anytime anybody does anything with a corkscrew or a twist, I'm always a little bit nervous about, because it's like, you're doing a lot of guessing and hoping that you're actually going to hit this right here. It just takes
a knee to be in the wrong spot at any moment, and you're like, you're hurt.
And the more twists they challenge themselves to do as they're coming down, the more I'm like, you can't see me right now.
Yeah.
This is guesswork.
I know as fans, we watch you guys do this stuff, but you guys have such a different perspective of a match than any of us could ever have.
Yeah.
Like it's at some point when they figure out how to put cameras in y'all's eyes or on your forehead or something like that, wrestling's going to go to a different thing. Like, is there something
Nate
that you said
where he gives the referee a GoPro?
Yeah.
Like has the referee like wear a GoPro for the matches, and it gives a really interesting perspective.
Is there anything that you've seen that's totally incredible that you've seen a guy do and that you've seen it from your perspective instead of like a fan's perspective? You're like, this was amazing.
Mickey Midas.
Great
when I was
guy,
just a couple.
guy.
Oh yeah,
Very
absolutely.
great guy.
Love Mickey.
Love Mickey.
When I was just a couple of months in, I was in a 8-man tag match, and Mickey had went to do a dive. Like he was just gonna do a punch over the top, and.
So you're outside.
I think we're on the outside. I think he went for a tope. I don't remember. But I remember he comes like, he goes for this dive. He goes over the top. He misses everybody.
Oh.
He like overshoots like where everybody was going to be.
Uh-huh.
Frank McIntosh, of all people. No, he undershot. That's what it was.
Frank the Tank.
He undershot. Everybody else is all the way back here.
Uh-huh.
Everybody else is like back. He's, too far forward. Frank he made it look like he stumbled or like he was falling, but comes forward and grabs Mickey before he hits the ground. Uh-huh. Because he would have came down like neck first, like straight onto the ground. Frank gets underneath of him, grabs him almost like in a powerbomb position, picks him back up, and powerbombs him on the apron.
Wow.
And if he wouldn't have caught him, Mickey would have just right there on the ground.
Yeah. And that's why Frank the Tank's one of the Dom Cartel's biggest enforcers.
Oh, Frank's the man.
And the fans probably didn't know anything about
Nobody had any idea.
But you saw it.
Being somebody was there was like, yo, if Frank wouldn't have caught Mickey, I don't know if Mickey be wrestling right now.
Yeah.
I don't know if Mickey be walking right now. Because that was back in the arena before Tony had put the pads on the floor.
Uh-huh.
So it was just straight concrete.
Yeah.
So he would have took that thing and just bam, straight onto the ground. But Frank caught him in like a powerbomb position, got him up, and took him over to the apron.
Wow.
That's amazing.
Oh, yeah.
and you just noticed, hey, he just saved this dude's life.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Now that's one of the reasons why I see why Scott Diamond holds him in such high regard.
Man, Frank. Anybody who's ever met Frank needs to hold Frank in high regard.
Yeah.
You know, Frank was the first person to ever actually work with me in the ring. Like the very first time I ever stepped into a wrestling ring. You know, he was the one who, you know, like, hey, no, get out the ring. You wipe your feet before you get in my ring. Frank's the one who taught me how to run the ropes. Frank was the first person to ever teach me how to take a bump. Like, Frank was my first ever wrestling match.
Frank's been on the podcast.
Yeah, he has.
Yeah. Frank was my first ever match.
First ever match.
Like the first ever. Very first ever wrestling match. That was Frank.
That's cool.
That's
cool.
And Frank, if you're listening, I'm
He's
sorry
so
for that.
funny.
Like,
He's
sorry.
He's so funny, man. He was in the podcast. He just had me laughing, dude. He's such a funny guy.
When he saw the
Listen to
brawl
him
break
sing.
out.
And he's a big dude.
Incredible singer.
Oh, really?
Frank is one of the best singers I've ever heard in my entire life.
We didn't get him to sing while he was here.
Oh,
we
see,
should
that
have.
was a mistake.
When he
Frank's
comes back, he's going to be back at some point. I'll have him back in here at some point.
Man, Frank, yeah.
Yeah. All I got to do is call Scott. Scott will get him over here.
He showed what a great podcast host he is, too, because when the brawl was happening in Andy's Don's room, and Fandil's here, and Frank's like, okay, now we're on to the midnight hour, Frank the Tank.
Yeah,
and in our studio, we got...
Frank got one of them voices that sound like he need to be doing like late night radio.
Yep.
Kind of like
a Barry White kind of.
Yeah, man. It's
Girl,
it's all
know.
like Motown and like, you know, 80s New Jack Swing. Like I could see it.
I could
Barry
too,
White.
man.
What's wrong with you? Every time I'm alone with you.
I could see
I
it.
love Barry White, man. I love some Barry White.
I mean, when Frank the Tank was at New South, like he said, that post that you see at New South building, that's the Frank post.
The Frank post.
Because that's what he would use his opponents with. And he used it again when he was there. It's unbelievable to see Frank the Tank.
It kind of sucks, you know, because I had you guys in here for a couple hours, and then, you know, like, when y'all leave, I'm like, damn, I should have asked him this. I should have got him to do this. You know, I should have got him to do that.
I remember when I was up here the first time, like after the podcast went off, like
there was
you
things
started
that you
asking questions. It was like, bro, why did and same thing. Like it was stuff that I was like, yo, I wish I would have talked about this. I wish I'd have said this.
Yeah, well, we had a
like,
bunch of stuff like before we even started that like was just great stories. Yeah. It all.
I just need to keep a dash cam going, like
I know,
24/7, because I feel like y'all accidentally missing some great material.
Oh yeah, I gotta have. As soon as we go viral and we get rich around here, I'm buying like. There's gonna be so many cameras here. This is not gonna be crazy.
There we go.
Exactly, because a lot of great content comes before the show too.
Yeah. We goof around a lot after the show and before the show, and me and Johnny's just sitting here sometimes, just bullshitting, and him and Sean.
Yeah, we go back and forth at each other.
Go off.
Real quick, while it's still on my mind, not sure if she's gonna see it or not. Kara Thornberry, thank you, incredibly. This is awesome.
Isn't that incredible?
You made her
Man,
night.
it is. Like, dude, this is great. I mean, it's from one of my all-time favorite albums. Like,
so you want to tell them what it is, Johnny?
Yeah, Kara Thornberry, at KD Productions on Instagram, made Omega a special magnet with his favorite album.
That's 3 Stacks.
Right,
Love Below. One of my favorite albums of all time.
It's amazing.
And
it's amazing. Tonight.
Bro, this is awesome.
That thing is amazing. She made me one, and it's great. You know, I got it in there on the refrigerator, but that looks real.
Man,
that looks real.
I'm a fan. Like Johnny gave it to me. I was like, okay, that's cool. I got to make sure.
Exactly.
And she's watching tonight because she said that you're her favorite.
We are definitely
of all of the Kentucky wrestlers,
which is wild to me. I'm not used to being anybody's favorite anything. Like the fact that people
you're loved, man. You're loved by a lot of people. It's a weird
concept to me.
Yeah.
Like I'll go places and people will come up to me and talk to me. I was at work one day. I do armed security work sometime on the side, and like I'm out at a community center one day, and these kids like walk behind me and they're all squinting. And they're like, "You that wrestler that used to do those shows down at the," and he's like pointing down the street.
Yeah, that's great.
They used to come to the when we were shooting for Derby City.
Yeah.
they would like come down to those shows, and he like pulls up, like one of them pulls up their phone, and they pulled up one of the last matches one of the last shows that we did. I like had a moment where I was like out with the crowd, and like he's got his phone like in selfie mode, and I was like, yo, yep, that's me, that's dope. And it's wild to me when stuff like that happens.
Yeah. It happens to us sometimes. Like around we're in Lexington. Around Lexington, we don't get noticed very much, but you take us to Hazard or Caverna or one of those shows, people just love us.
Which we'll be at next week.
And we got to go. Yeah, we got to go to Hazard.
And
too.
March 9th as well.
Yeah, March 9th.
March 9th is Caverna show.
Caverna's March. What's the show we're going to next week?
Next week is going to be Appalachian Mountains, biggest show with UCW, USWF, TCW, bashing the Berg. And you just might see a new championship unveiled.
Yeah. Okay, cool. I got it right here.
But also,
we got to go to the show. It's like,
and also turns
Kyle
out
sent the damn thing to me, and I'm like,
turns out you were talking about being so straight. Well, you're also Jacob Ratliff's favorite opponent.
That dude's a tough.
Me
He's
and
fucking tough
Jacob
as fuck.
Ratliff, like I always have fun when I wrestle Jacob. And then like 30 minutes later, I'm like, fuck, I hurt. Like because me and Jacob get together and we just beat the hell out of each other. And it always looks good and it's always fun and
He's tough, man.
He is.
Yeah.
He is. But personally, I love those kind of matches. Like that's always been my style. You know, I like when I can go in there and actually mix it up with somebody. And Jacob's so much fun to throw hands with.
Yeah, he's a good wrestler.
That's right.
As far as skills,
Hey, we
one of the
watched
best.
him. Remember, we watched him.
Oh,
When
I've seen him.
Dwayne Davis.
Yeah, I've seen him. I've seen him a few times. Yeah,
Talk about hard hitting that him and
Yeah,
Dwayne
that
Davis
match-
beat the hell out of each other.
Dwayne Davis and Jacob Ratliff. That was a crazy match. They suplexed each other on the damn on the hardwood floor there, and I was, oh my god.
And Dwayne Davis was still feeling it a month
That's
later.
a guy that's freaking nuts. Dwayne Davis is nuts. Have you wrestled him?
I don't think.
Yeah.
I don't think me and Double D have ever actually been in the ring together.
Yeah, that's a nut there.
Yeah.
He's a nut.
Eric
He's
Montgomery.
so fun,
Jacob,
though.
it's always been fun. You know, we had a series of matches in Frankfurt. I think not too far removed from him starting to like really start to make his rounds and start to feel himself. And I mean, it was great. It was always fun. We had ideas of certain concepts, things we wanted to do that we ended up not being able to. And we've got a couple of things. Jacob, if you're still listening right now, I know you know what I'm talking about. We've had ideas of things where we're like, oh, this is great. We just need like the right opportunity to be able to do it. And like, brother, when it happens, it's going to
Where's he wrestling
fire.
the most at now? Where's Jacob? Let us know where you're wrestling at the most right now.
I know where he's going to be at March 8th.
Okay,
Where's
March 8th.
that?
Oh, he's going to be with us up at Paradigm.
Nice.
Paradigm. We haven't
Pro
had
wrestling at the arena.
we haven't had a chance to get up there, but it's at the arena too.
Yeah.
We went
Man,
up there
you
and
gotta go.
seen XCW when you were wrestling up there. That place is amazing.
The arena,
I didn't realize how close it is to
Man,
Lexington.
look, anybody watching that knows me knows that I have a very love-hate relationship with the arena.
Yeah.
They know that I have a very love-hate relationship, honestly, with wrestling in the state of Indiana. But for better or for worse, anybody who's ever spent time there, the arena will always be a part of you. You know, for better or for worse. And for a lot of us, it's a lot of worse.
Yeah.
But, I mean, there's so much history in the arena. And there's so much talent that's come out of the arena, you know, that
That's an iconic place around here.
it is.
And we've only been up there once, but I didn't realize how close it is to Lexington. It's
Yeah.
like really
Yeah.
close. Like I was like, let's go, and I thought we were gonna go.
It's
like
an hour drive, and it feels like it ain't even an hour.
it feels like you leave and you're there, and it's like that's cool. And then we couldn't find it, and then we ended up finding it.
Yeah.
And it's like it is back hole.
Oh
like
yeah, you always
do
got to
the
try and
back-
like when you send people to the arena for the first time, you have to like leave instructions on like how to actually. And it's even more confusing now since
No,
they
it's
blocked
confusing.
off the back.
Yeah,
of
they
the,
blocked. Yeah, they blocked the back off, and
But like, yeah, I know Jacob's gonna be Paradigm's gonna be running the show March 8th. I'll be there myself. Y'all got to make it up to a Paradigm show sometime.
oh yes,
I had match of my life. First match of the year back in January with Tom Lawler, like through Paradigm. And
Okay,
that-
Tom Lawler.
Yeah. Oh my god.
you were talking about that earlier.
That was one of the best experiences in my entire life. Like it hurt like hell, and it was fun, and it was exciting, and it was engaging. There was never a point in the match where like where there was a lull, like either in the ring or with the crowd. Everybody was always engaged. Everybody was dialed in. I remember like after any of my matches, I always want to talk to my opponent, figure out how they felt about it. I always want to see if I can flag down the booker, the promoter, see how they felt about it. But then I always go to my OGs in the locker room, or if I'm in an unfamiliar locker room, I'll go to one of the vets. You know, hey, just curious, did you catch my match?
Because they're going to tell you the truth.
O'Shea Edwards, longtime Ring of Honor veteran. I think he's still killing it up in MLW right now too. O'Shea was up in the crow's nest at the arena during my match. So O'Shea's one of the biggest vets in the locker room. Went down and talked to him. I was like, did you get a chance to see the match? He was like, yes, I did. It was like, can you, it's like, critique me, nitpick me. I don't care. Like, I love that kind of feedback. And he was like, well, I mean, yeah, I saw the match. He was like, but the most important thing I can tell you right off the bat, I heard the match the entire time. He was like, I could have watched that match with my eyes closed. He's like, I could hear it. And that in and of itself tells me everything I need to know about it. And he gave me feedback, and it was great feedback. But, like, that whole match just had everybody dialed from beginning to end. And it was a very... That match put in perspective, like, 7 years of my life where I don't always have the most confidence in myself, like as a performer, as a wrestler. Like, I'm often put in positions that I don't think I deserve to be in. I'm in locker rooms a lot of times that I don't think I deserve to be in. I'm on shows a lot of time that I don't think I deserve to be on. So to be able to have a showing like that with one of the best, like to be in a ring with somebody like Tom Lawler, to be given that kind of responsibility to begin with, and then we went out there and absolutely fucking killed it. That was one of the most gratifying moments of my entire life. Yeah, it was good to know that I haven't just been wasting my time the last 7 years, that the work I've been putting in has meant something. Yeah, that maybe I do belong doing this thing, that maybe I can do this thing, that I've been trying to do. It was just, it felt so fucking good to have a match like that and to have a moment like that against an opponent like that. Being a pro wrestler who works that kind of style and being a former MMA fighter, being in the ring with somebody who was a UFC veteran, and being able to put together this kind of match and carry it out the way we did, it felt so fucking good. I remember just, getting back to the locker room and, talking to him, and we asked it out for a minute, and that was great. And just sitting down with, this, it was like adrenaline and relief all at the same time.
You still feeling it.
Even right now, I'm thinking about it, but I was still so adrenaline loaded and pumped up. But at the same time, I just had this calming relief going over me. And that was a good night. That was a good night, man. Yeah. I was up till 3 o'clock in the morning celebrating that night. That was a good night.
Damn straight.
It's a good night.
Yeah, I love that too. When I have somebody, we have somebody in the studio that just you're pumped up now. We love that feeling.
It's like the adrenaline spikes.
It was. I mean, and it was, and it did, and it still is. That was it was a good night, man.
Yeah, that's what it's all about, though. When
it reminds me of when I had Vic in here.
Vic started out quiet for a moment, but then
I think I've told you this before. Vic was just sitting there quiet, didn't say much.
Yeah, you told me about that.
Then I turned that mic on. He was on.
He snapped awake and became Vic the Bruiser.
He was on. Yeah, he was on.
He told us about the comics that he loves and everything.
You never know it by looking at Pops, but yeah, man, dude's die hard in the comics and superheroes. He loves retro Japanese animation.
Yep.
He's big into Ultraman and Power Man and stuff like that. Huge Kiss fan.
Kiss fan.
Yeah, you will never find a bigger fan of Kiss in your entire life.
You wouldn't look at him and think that.
If I'm not mistaken, he has went on record of saying that he has seen Kiss live over 100 times.
Wow.
Nice.
Yeah, that's cool.
I think he got interviewed last year or the year before last at Louder Than Life in Louisville, the night that Kiss was on the main stage. And he told him, he's like, yeah, I've seen Kiss, over 100 times live. That's Pop's deal.
That's incredible.
He's a good man too.
Every year for Christmas, I try to find him something Kiss related, but it's hard because at this point, I think he has everything. Yeah. So it's now it's trying to find obscure shit or making it myself. Because it's every time I see something, it's he's probably got one of them. He's probably got one of them.
It's kind of like UK fans around here. They've got everything. The UK fans have got everything. Yeah. I got an aunt that just has a whole room of UK shit.
There's only like 2 people that I feel like confidently have everything of something, and that's, it's Pops when it comes to anything Kiss related, and Flash Flanagan.
Okay.
A lot of people claim to be Star Wars fans.
Oh, wow.
Flash Flanagan has an actual, like, independently owned Star Wars museum.
No, for real.
I think, no bullshit. I think, if I'm not mistaken, Flash has, he's, I think, up in the Indy area.
Okay.
But I think Flash said, he told me one time that I think he has the biggest independent collection of Star Wars memorabilia from like a
That's cool.
like a non-commercial or a non-like museum type deal. Like in terms of being like an independent owner, I think he has the biggest collection of Star Wars memorabilia in the world.
It's just like Cornette. They say he has all kinds of wrestling memorabilia, like upstairs his place.
Anytime I've ever seen video footage of Cornette's wrestling library, like, don't get me wrong, I don't think I could be in a room with Cornette for too long. I don't know if we can carry on too long of a conversation, but I would carry on whatever conversation I needed to be able to get into that room.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I want to see that. I want to actually go through his wrestling library because, I mean, it's insane.
I bet.
It is
ridiculous.
insane.
Yeah, he's showed it on I think you showed it on YouTube or something.
Yeah, he has.
I remember
on
seeing
Vice's Dark Side of the Ring.
I remember seeing
like
that.
there'd be episodes where he's like up there and he's like, talking about certain things, and it's like you just see it, it's like, holy hell, like it's the Fort Knox of wrestling history right
Yeah,
here.
and he lives in
being,
Louisville,
too.
don't he?
Yep.
Yeah.
He's from Louisville. He's a Kentucky boy.
You ever ran into him?
I haven't, which we've definitely had some differences in opinion, but I agree with a lot of his takes on the business itself. A lot of the points
can't deny that he's
made,
a wrestling legend.
Yeah.
My biggest thing is he takes the business seriously. Like and I know people always do the whole thing, oh, he thinks wrestling's real. He takes the business too seriously. People have given their entire life to this thing.
It's his life.
Exactly. So, like, yes, he takes that seriously.
Yeah.
Like, it's in a game to him. It's in a joke to him. I disagree with some of his takes.
Yeah.
I disagree with a lot of his personal opinions.
Yep.
But a lot of his philosophy on the business itself, I think he's right on the money on.
A lot of people in this business take it very seriously. And, and I guess, I don't know. We see it from a fan perspective.
I kind of understand it, though.
I understand that. I do, but we see it from a fan perspective. I guess we kind of see both sides, and sometimes the wrestlers don't want you to see the other side, but it's there to see. So, and we are trying to see that side. So it's like,
it also helps you to like them better because you start seeing, I could relate to them.
See, like,
you got one. You don't just have one character. You have 2 characters there, pretty much.
One of the first things that I was ever taught about wrestling, one of the vets said, wrestling's like ice cream. Everybody's going to have their flavor. Everybody's going to have their favorite. Doesn't mean that, if I like chocolate and you like vanilla, doesn't mean you're wrong. It just means we have different flavors of ice cream.
Yep.
And I agree with that. My personal flavor of wrestling is always to have a more physical, legitimate, visceral presentation to it. Yeah. I like wrestling that looks like 2 men beating the shit out of each other.
Yes.
Like that's
MMA
my
guy.
brand of wrestling. Exactly.
I like that too.
But like even before I did MMA, watching guys, watching certain people wrestle, watching somebody like Taz, Kurt Angle, I know you're not supposed to say the name, but Benoit, watching those types of guys, watching Ken Kobashi, Minoru Suzuki, those guys who legit looked like they were beat. Yeah, Dean Malenko, Vader, Bad News Brown back in the day, Cactus Jack, Terry Funk, guys who looked like they were just in there beating the shit out of each other.
Bruiser Brody,
I was a fan. Bruiser Brody, Harley Race, the list goes on and on. That was my flavor of wrestling. I prefer that kind of thing. But I can enjoy other types of wrestling. I can enjoy, I'm not a huge, Lucha Libre fan or like a Super Indie fan, but I can still enjoy it and appreciate it for what it is.
They definitely doing their thing.
Wrestling. I don't usually like comedy wrestling just because usually most comedy wrestling comes off as lazy to me. I love good comedy wrestling. People who are good at it, it's great. There's nothing better than good comedy wrestling.
Orange Cassidy, what do you think about him?
I love Orange Cassidy. Yeah. I'm a fan. Look, and again, even as somebody who prefers wrestling to have a more serious presentation, the Orange Cassidy thing, and I'll circle back to that. But Cornette, the whole thing of like, people say Cornette doesn't like comedy wrestling. Cornette doesn't like to have fun. If you look back at Cornette shit, Cornette was not afraid to take a piss out of himself. He did the whole heel shtick where, they let him put him in a chicken suit or, he'd run around, screaming because somebody gave him a wedgie and shit like that. Like, Cornette would do stuff like that. But it was always the stuff like the Joey Ryan dick suplex or, the invisible hand grenade or stuff like that. Like, I don't like stuff like that either. Like,
Exactly.
that's a whole nother thing, though. But Orange Cassidy. I fucking love Orange Cassidy.
Yeah,
I do too.
And like, because again, even from somebody who prefers that their wrestling has a more serious presentation to it, if people were selling Orange Cassidy's offense as legit, if people were actually like getting hurt by Orange Cassidy's offense, I'd understand. Like if he was doing like the little bitty kicks and people were actually like and selling it like death, like okay, maybe I'd get it.
I think
but it's not supposed to be that type of thing. It's
he's
supposed
trying
to
to
be
intimidate you.
Exactly.
I mean, not really intimidate you, but
also,
trying to.
Sting played it his way. He was doing the kicks to him, and even did this instead of his usual beating.
He's just trying to piss you off. With
Exactly.
His little
It's that dude who's like, it's that I'm not touching you. I'm not touching you. I'm not and it works. And it's funny. But the match that he had with Pac. Like
he's a great wrestler.
And that match showed it because they were doing the thing. It was like one of AEW's first ever pay-per-views, like when the company was still in its infancy.
Yeah.
He's got this match with Pac, and everybody was like, and this is when Pac was still like determined to prove that he was, a murderer.
Yeah.
And, he starts doing the thing with the kicks, and, Pac's just like, he's getting pissed off, and he starts doing it back to him. He's like, all right, this is stupid. And Pac grabs the arm, takes it out of his pocket, and immediately Orange Cassidy like swings back around it, gives him and he gives him an arm wringer, and Pac snaps with it. And he lays there on the ground like, what the fuck just happened? He gets up, he throws a line, Orange Cassidy goes under it, comes through the other side, gives him the arm drag, comes back up, shotgun drop kick, nips up, immediately starts transitioning into chain wrestling. It's like, the guy can go.
Yeah, he can go.
Like,
yes,
I think there's
he
this misconception that if you do that kind of thing, you don't know how to wrestle.
Yeah.
And I mean, let's just be 100%.
You have to know how to wrestle to do that.
Okay, but let's
right.
Yes. First and foremost, yes. But let's be honest. If somebody walked up to you right now and was like, "Here's an $100,000 check, and I'm gonna put you on TV," and you don't have to do the same stuff that all these other guys are doing, where they're getting punched and throwing themselves at the ground 100 times. We want you to put your hands in your pockets and wear sunglasses.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Here's a big fat check for that. You're gonna be like, all right, bet, give me that check. Like,
I think he was doing that on the Indies. Like,
Yeah.
he
And
came up.
Danhausen too.
He
Danhausen
came up with that
good.
himself.
Yeah.
He came up with that gimmick himself.
Like
that's
nobody's
so
gonna
creative.
turn down the bag to be able to do something like that.
No.
And again, I prefer to wrestle the way I prefer to wrestle.
Yeah.
If you can get that contract and get that bag and be able to preserve your body, like by all means do that.
And he's a champ over there at AEW. He's got that. What's the belt he has?
International Championship.
Yeah.
He's had it forever.
And
Yeah.
it's just like Danhausen. Danhausen can go, but he's paid to be the goofy kind.
Right.
Danhausen. I mean, if I was being paid that money, I'd do the same thing.
I've never
Right.
actually seen him wrestle in AEW, and he's got a hell of a contract over there. But now he's going to be on GCW here soon and actually be in a wrestling match.
Hey,
I
he
gotta
can
go. I gotta go to GCW to actually see him wrestle.
Trust me, Andy. You look him up on
I
YouTube.
know. I've
and
seen him wrestle.
You'll
I've
find
seen him
Donovan
wrestle.
Danhausen.
I've
That's
just never
his original
seen.
name.
I've just never seen Danhausen actually wrestle on AEW. What do you think about AEW? You watch any of it?
I mostly watch recaps. I don't have TNT.
Yeah.
So like I mostly watch recaps.
Swerve. What do you think about Swerve?
I love Swerve.
Me too.
I
want him
cannot
to-
wait for Swerve to become world champion.
I can't wait either. I think he's going to get it. I think
yeah.
he's going to get it soon.
He definitely
absolutely.
should win it soon.
Yeah, I really want Swerve to have it.
Because that death match they had with Hangman Page, I get that most people don't like death matches, but
Man,
it worked to their storyline.
Swerve when they were still doing the Lucha Underground deal. Swerve and AR Fox had a match that it wasn't called a death match, but it honestly may as well have been a death match in Lucha Underground. And it was like 2 out of 3 falls, and like 1 fall I think was a regular match. The second fall was like no DQ, and then it was like not an ambulance, but like an emergency, like a military medical vehicle, because I think that was like the whole Lucha Underground premise was like Swerve was his character called Deadshot, and I think his former like squad mate was AR Fox, and now they were beefing with each other. And these two dudes killed each other. Like, they beat the shit out of each other. I think like one of the final moments of the match, AR Fox is like up at the top of the entranceway, and he's like choking Swerve out with like one of the electric wires. You can like hear the feedback looping and stuff. And Swerve picks up a bottle, and he hits, AR Fox with the bottle. And AR Fox falls like probably 20, 25 feet through like 3 panes of glass, like back down to the bottom. And, Swerve comes down and puts him on the track. And I mean, it was crazy. I remember there being some thumbtacks. I remember there being some more glass. Like, I mean, it was.
Where was that? What was that in?
Lucha Underground.
Lucha Underground. Okay.
I think it was the like finale that they had every year.
Yeah.
Like at the end of it. Like at the end of the season. They were like the main event
those
of
guys
night
are
one.
Nuts. I remember seeing it was Johnny Nitro over there.
Yep. Yeah, except he was called Johnny Mundo.
Johnny Mundo, yeah.
And that's what you had. Swerve, you had AR Fox. Like
Penta, Ray Phoenix.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Pentagon, I think.
Ricochet when he was doing the Prince Puma deal. Rey Mysterio was down there. Jeff Cobb. He was doing the Matanza Cueto, monster gimmick, and that was incredible. I still remember when he made that debut. He comes down and he's like Dario Cueto's like his enforcer, and he just there's like a battle royal going on, like it's like an over the top rope battle royal type deal going on, and he comes through and everybody's just hitting him with everything they got. And he's just eliminating people left and right. It's like Willie Mack he throws out and he gets Chavo Guerrero out, and he does like a triple something to Joey Ryan, and he's doing stuff that somebody his size shouldn't be able to do. He's hitting like standing moonsaults and like standing shoot. I think he hit like a standing moonsault into a standing shooting star press, and the man's like 350 pounds.
Yeah. That's amazing to see somebody do
like
that.
It's the most wild shit in the world, and he's just like doing it carelessly. And like the final, I think, came down to him and Rey Mysterio. And of course, Rey's trying to do his thing, and he's just making Rey look like a child. Like with everything he does.
Like Ivar in WWE right now is huge, and he's doing that kind of shit.
Yeah.
He's kind of doing those moonsaults and all that stuff. That's just crazy.
I remember back in the day watching like Bam Bam Bigelow do a moonsault. Was always like wild.
Well, what's the name would do with that shit too? Vader would get up there and do stuff like that.
The Vader bomb and the Banzai drop are the 2 scariest finishing moves in wrestling history to me.
Yeah.
Because there's such like little room for error with something like that. And Yoko was like what 500-600 pounds, and you just see that much man sit on somebody's chest.
Like, yeah, right.
It's like, oh god.
So this is Swerve right here.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yo, Swerve with the mask Swerve. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
And that's AR Fox.
I know who AR Fox is. He's signed to AEW right now too.
He looks different, don't he?
He does.
But yeah, this is that match.
Yeah, Swerve is incredible. I think he's incredible, especially with like his mic skills and just his whole style, and just like I think he deserves that title.
Absolutely.
And do y'all think he's going to put it on him? Do y'all think that Joe's
they
winning?
Should, because
he's taking on
Swerve's
Joe
hot right now.
He's taking on Joe and Adam Page right here, next pay-per-view.
I don't know if they'll take it off of Joe so quick, but I definitely could see Swerve being next in line.
Yeah,
I do too. Like this match right here proves why Swerve is one of the best, because not only did he have this kind of match, but he brought it back with Hangman Adam Page.
I'll tell you what, one of the wildest moments I've ever seen in a match. Ricochet was in a match Lucha Underground when he was doing the Prince Puma deal against Mil Muertes.
he's incredible, ain't he? Freaking Ricochet's incredible. Ain't he he's from Kentucky, right?
Yeah, I think he's from around the Paducah area.
Yeah.
But like Mil's a big old luchador. His brother's probably like, 6'4", 230, 240, just big old solid dude. But there's this point where Mil's like outside the ring, like down by the ground, and Ricochet's like inside. He sizes him up for a second. He hits the ropes, and he goes for that like second rope suicide dive. Mil Muertes picks up a chair and just bow and cracks him over the head, like as he like slides out of the ring,
Yeah.
like as he's making that dive over the second rope. and just cracks him in the head on the way down.
Redirecting for him.
I just mean like, God, I remember seeing it and just like watching that clip back like 30 times in a row.
That had to hurt like hell.
Oh man, shit.
And now look at him, he's in WWE.
Bro.
Yeah. Well,
Can you believe that we have a Kentucky guy in WWE right now? That catches me off guard. But it is Black History Month. Mm-hmm. And we have some of the best, like Booker T, Mark Henry, Farouk, a.k.a. Ron Simmons.
Yeah.
Farouk, I would have loved to have been able to bow. I always wanted to do that, but it's like, you thought I was going to do the thing. You a bitch. But like, nah, Farouk's one of the guys that I really wish I would have been able to wrestle once upon a time.
Farouk.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
The APA in general, man.
Yeah.
I love that kind of style. You know,
Yeah.
My favorite finishing move in wrestling history is Bradshaw doing the clothesline from hell.
Yes.
Like it
Never looks so. It always looks good.
And
Every
it's
single
pretty
time.
Every
too.
single time he hits it, it looks like he's fucking murdering somebody.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And he could do it anytime, anywhere, any place.
Yeah.
It was always funny to see him do it to like the Big Show because he would still do it with just as much force, but since he'd have to go up for it, he could never actually like follow through with the Big Show. So he'd pop him, and then you see him go flying backwards. Like he would hit him with so much force that like it caught him off guard.
Yeah. Bradshaw, they say Bradshaw was like the big bully in the
They
locker
said
room.
that, but really it's more like he liked to haze a lot, like to rib a lot too.
Like a real tough
Hey,
guy.
but he guys come up as though Joey Styles, they said knocked him the fuck out.
Really?
In a way, during the tour.
Man, I'm one of them people. I'm all for a good joke. I'm all for a good prank,
Yeah.
stuff like that. But not everybody feels like getting fucked with all the time.
Yeah.
And especially, it's like if I've been on the road for, 10 hours, or if I'm about to get on a, X amount of whatever flight, you've got your own stress going on. You got your own. It's like those, I've talked about it before with people. Those prank compilation videos you see on YouTube all the time. Just yelling out, it's a prank, is not going to stop you from getting your ass
Oh,
whooped.
exactly.
If you decide to pull a prank on somebody one day who's got some shit going on,
Yeah.
like,
You can say it's a joke, bro, and
I was like, I don't
You
give
still
a
gonna get
fuck.
knocked
You
the fuck
still
out.
gonna get your ass
Damn
whooped right
straight.
now.
I still crack at those ones where they'll walk up to these like big bunch of tough guys, and the guy's like, you want to fight? And they're like, they stand up, and the guy pulls his pants off, and he has like a G-string on or something. Those are the funniest. Then he runs after him, and then you see these big guys just run away from him.
But
It's
nobody
like,
wants to
what
be
the
fucked
hell?
by that.
Yeah.
It's like, man, screaming. You can scream out, it's a prank, it's a joke, all you want to.
But you still gonna get your ass beat.
You'll be screaming it behind that ass whooping.
Exactly.
So I can understand why Joey Styles finally knocked Bradshaw out because he got tired of it.
Yeah.
And Bradshaw probably was like, "It's just a joke, bro."
Yeah,
Why'd you
man, calm
do it?
down, calm down.
But yeah,
I want to ask you the beads. Where do they come from? What are they? What do they represent?
So the beads, these are what we call Ogun beads. Ogun was a West African warrior spirit. Tongue tied. Let's try it again. A West African warrior spirit.
Okay.
Very similar to Akuma. Similar concept, different culture. A lot of black men have started wearing beads the past couple of years, especially as a symbol of Pan-Africanism, which Pan-Africanism is a cultural belief in all black and brown people's cultural connection to Africa despite geographical location.
Yeah.
Africa being the cradle of civilization, Africa being the birthplace of humanity, that all black and brown people still share that cultural connection to Mother Africa.
There's been saying that like everybody has, like, I did my DNA test, and my DNA originated in Africa.
But like specifically for me, with the beads, Isaiah, up at OVW, Has done the bead, Has worn his Ogun beads for years, to where they're synonymous with them. It's almost weird to see High without beads.
Yeah.
When Vic retired a few years ago, he left the charge of, his position, especially when it came to the people that Vic, mentored, the people that Vic looked out for. He left that charge to High. So he was basically, he told all of us, he was like, the way you look to me, Hi's the man now.
Hi's
the
the
one
man.
in charge.
Okay.
And Isaiah took that seriously.
Yeah.
You know, I counsel with Hi all the time on stuff both in and out of the ring. You know, me and Hi became very, very close in terms of wrestling, but Hi's somebody that I talk to on a personal level frequently.
Yeah.
You know, me and Hi have worked together. Me and Hi have trained together. Hi's somebody that I talk to, you know, often. Hi's somebody that, you know, I like just being able to shoot the shit with. He's somebody that I talk real life with. He's somebody that when I have stuff
mentor.
going on, oh yeah.
Yeah.
And by every sense of the word, like Hi went from being like the wrestling uncle to where I know Hi better than I know some of my uncles.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know?
exactly. Yeah.
So when Hi felt that I was at the place and I was in the position to where, you know, I needed that sort of final push to go let me be me, you know, Hi gave me the right, you know, to be able to wear my own beads. And honestly, from then, that's when a lot of my confidence really started to soar and excel, not only in wrestling, but in a lot of things.
I noticed when you
I
noticed when you put the beads on, like you seem different than you had before.
I feel different. And like
Yeah.
it is so weird to put that kind of power like behind something, but
Yeah.
I feel different
Yeah.
when I wear my beads. I feel different if I don't have them. Like if I don't have them on.
Exactly.
I mean, that's a real thing.
I really noticed like when I before you know, and then you had them on. I really noticed when you had put them on.
You got that confidence
Yeah.
boost.
I could tell that it's something had changed with you. I knew they meant something. I didn't know what they meant, and I really.
And that's a great meaning too.
I wanted when you got here. I really wanted to ask you about them.
See, and they broke at one point. I was doing a show in Illinois. Me and Gaston were wrestling, and Gaston was in the ring. I made my entrance. I hit the ropes, and when I did, like they hit the rope and they just snapped, like the rope that they were on snapped, and all my beads just went flying.
Yeah.
And I think people could see it in my face. Like I looked like surprised and shocked and angry and sad all at the same time.
Yeah.
And immediately, like the ref, my friend Buck, jumps out the ring and he starts gathering them together. And like everybody who was in the first like couple of rows, like it's like
Gathering them all.
they're all like running around, gathering them for me and sliding under the ring. And they all like put them together in a bag. And I actually end up getting all of them back.
You had to have it fixed.
A good friend of mine, my friend Molly, actually strung them through with, I believe, guitar string.
Okay.
And,
so they're not
soldered
breaking
them
now.
back together. Oh yeah, she literally handed it to me. She's
So
like, "If you still break these,
I wear beads too. Like, you know, that's why I kind of like wanted to know about yours.
yeah,
Mine are protective, like they're protective, like a protective rock.
got you."
Yeah, spiritual kind of thing. I don't, you know, but you know, not as deep as yours, but
Like, yeah, Molly literally gave back to me. She's like, "If you still break these damn things, I don't know what to tell you." It's like, yeah, no, I'm good. I got it."
no, that's cool, man. That's
That's
cool.
great
The ones on your
history,
wrist,
too.
do they mean the same thing too?
Oh no, the ones on my wrist, I found these.
Yeah.
I think I literally found these at a truck stop, and I was like, you know what? They cool. I'm getting them.
Heck yeah, just for the cool shit.
Yeah, no, those just look cool. The
Yeah.
rings, though. Okay, so the rings that
Yeah.
everybody always sees me in, every year for the past few years, there's a motorcycle rally that happens every year, twice a year, in Cave in Rock, Illinois, called Hog Rock. And like thousands of bikers and motor enthusiasts and just general degenerates and weirdos all gather together for a week
You
and just
ride?
lose their ever-loving minds. Used to.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. I ride still, but I got
before last.
I still ride, but I got a Can-Am. I got one of those 3-wheel ones. Yeah, it's pretty. Those are pretty fun.
I had a Suzuki Boulevard once upon a time.
I had a Suzuki Boulevard. I've had maybe 5 different bikes. I had a Suzuki
shit.
Boulevard. I loved that one. My last one was a Harley Davidson, and it was a big bike, and I loved it. I loved riding it, but I didn't get to ride it as much as I wanted to.
Yeah.
So I checked out the Can-Am. It's a 3-wheel, and it's just perfect for in town. You know, you got to hold the damn thing up. You got to get shift gears.
Yeah.
You just go. Psh. I love it. So, you know, at some point, if I see you, I'll let you ride it, and you can check it out and see what else.
But like 2 years ago, I got asked to wrestle at it, and I was like, okay, sure, that sounds like a thing.
At the
Yeah.
bike
Yeah.
thing. Okay.
So like I did it, and it was like one of the most fun weekends of my entire life. And I bought my first one, the gold and silver one, my sort of lucha skull, my sugar skull, when I did the first one. And then back in the spring last year, actually it was the day of the first ever EWA show, I get a phone call from the Colorado kid, Mike Rapata.
Okay.
And Rapata's like, hey man, I'm booking this year's show for Hog Rock, and you were the first person. The show's put on every year by a man named Hog Daddy. No idea what Hog Daddy's real name is. Everybody knows him as Hog Daddy.
Hog Daddy.
I call him man Hog Daddy.
Yeah.
So
he probably cooks some good barbecue, I'd say.
He probably does.
But he was like, I'm putting together the wrestling portion for this year, and Hog Daddy specifically asked for you.
Oh, wow.
I'm like, what? He was like, yeah. He's like, he loved the
boss
interaction y'all
asked
had.
for your ass.
That's big props right there.
He was like, he loved the interaction y'all had. He loved, your showmanship. He loved how, cooperative you over stuff. He wanted to know if you come back and do it this year. It's like, fuck yeah. I was hoping, I was planning on going even if I wasn't wrestling. I was just going to go hang out. So, it went from him asking me to come to the show to a few days later. It was, hey, I had 2 guys drop out. Can you bring 2 more guys with you? Yeah, I'm sure I can find that. Hey, I hate to be this person. Could you bring 2 more guys? Yeah, I'm sure I can find 2 people. So about a week later,
you
he was
booked
like,
the whole damn show.
Yeah, so about a week later, he's like,
Nice.
everybody's backed out on me. Can you find me 10 guys and a ref?
Could you book the show, Omega Voice?
Basically, he's like, so can you find me 10 guys and a ref?
That's big props right there, too.
Man.
And a ref.
So
you need a concession guy, too?
So I put together a show. It was me, Isaiah, Savion Truitt, Donnie Piper, Matt Atreya, Cameron. Who else did we have the first time we went? Tom Sharp, and I know I'm forgetting somebody unless it's just me and I'm an idiot.
Who was the ref?
And my homie Buck was the ref.
Okay.
Buck, if you're listening, love you to death.
Love you, Buck.
But
love you, Buck.
We get there, and Mike's definitely been having some fun already.
Yeah.
So he looks at me, he's like, "Oh man, I just thought about it. I don't know any of these guys. Can you put together 5 matches for me?" I was like, yeah, I mean, I guess. So I just threw together 5 matches, and
can we call this the Omega?
And it went over.
Show.
And the next night, we went out with a completely different concept and had completely different matches, and we drew more people than we did the first time to it. And Hog Daddy's happy and Rapata's happy. We all had the time of our life. We all got paid well. Everybody had fun. Everybody made great memories. And the entire weekend that we're there, we took over these campgrounds. We became the kings of the entire campus.
Oh, wow.
Because first of all,
do we have to leave?
What was oh dude, yeah, no. It was the best weekend of my life.
Do we have to leave? Can we just stay?
So out of there were 10 wrestlers. Out of the 10 of us, 6 or 7 of us were black. We were probably the only 6 or 7 black people in Cave in Rock, Illinois that weekend. So everywhere we went, we were immediately identified. People knew us as the wrestlers, and people would adopt us everywhere.
I've been to Henny Fest, so I understand.
Yep. So everywhere we went, people just adopted us and took care of us. We didn't buy food all weekend. People fed us. The people who drank, people were supplied, with drink. The people who did some other Illinois things were provided with their other Illinois things, and we just were taken care of, and we all had fun, and we all had great matches. So they do one in the spring and one in the fall. Fall started to roll around. Rapata's like, hey, Hog Daddy wants to know if you can put together the wrestling part. He's like, I'm going to give you the reins. Yeah. He was like, Hog Daddy wants to know if you can put together another one for October.
So they have the ring.
Yep. So they had the ring. Yep. No, he brought the ring. I brought the talent, and we had a hell of a show. But all that's to say, every time I go to Hog Rock and wrestle, I pick up a new ring.
Yeah.
So that was the one I got from 2 years ago. I got that one when we went back in the spring, and then that one we went back in the fall.
Hell yeah.
We'll go back in June. I'll get one. Yeah, I'll get
That's
one.
what I'm talking about, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll just steadily collect. I don't know what I'm gonna do when I run out of fingers.
You basically proved
Hog Daddy ought to give you a ring since you're booking the shows. Hog Daddy, if you're listening, Omega needs a new ring next year.
And that also is something that you could do whenever you finally do hang it up. You could be the one that books his matches.
Man,
books Hog Daddy's matches.
I have a dream of turning that into I love these cult classic things on the indies that doesn't really mean a whole lot to the mainstream, but to wrestlers, it's always a really cool feather in your cap to be able to do. The Gathering, JCW, being able to wrestle for JCW at the Gathering, that's a really cool thing on the indies. It's a really cool thing to be able to do. I want to turn this into that. Not necessarily that, and I'm not trying to rip them off or riff off of them or anything like that.
Yeah.
But I would love for it to be that kind of thing where all of a sudden guys are clamoring to, okay, how do we get on this thing? Like, oh man, that's so cool. Oh, you see the video from this weekend and Hog Rock? Yeah, man, I wanted to be able to have that kind of lore with it. I want it to be where I want it to be where people are coming to Hog Rock to see the wrestling show.
Yeah.
Like there's like almost I want there to almost be a subculture of people who, because the people who come to the show, they're already at Hog Rock, but they're like, oh shit, there's a wrestling show going on. Let's go check that out.
Yeah.
I want there to almost be a subculture at Hog Rock that's coming
for
to
that.
see the wrestling show. Yeah. And then they happen to partake in the other shit going on.
Yeah, if y'all keep putting on a great show, you'll get that.
Oh, dude, it's gotten better and bigger every single time we've done it. And Hog Daddy gets happier. We get time added to it. We get days added to it. We get paid a little bit more every single time we do it. I'm always happy about that part.
Heck yeah.
But man, it's dope. It's every single time we go. It's always an incredible weekend.
So where's this at?
Cave in Rock, Illinois.
Cave in Rock, Illinois. When?
There's always one in June, one in October. I'm not sure what the dates are for this year.
Maybe we can try to make it up there.
Yeah.
Man, be ready.
Yeah.
Come prepared.
You think they'll let me drive the Can-Am up there?
Oh yeah.
They don't.
Everybody shows up on their bikes.
Yeah.
You got thousands of bikers. You got motorcycles, ATVs, dirt bikes. People create bikes out of things. Like there's a guy on a jet ski.
Oh wow.
That he outfitted a dirt bike under. So he's he put wheels on his jet ski.
Yeah.
So he's just on land, just cruising in his jet ski.
Cool. That is innovative too.
I like when you see the couches that people put.
Yeah.
They're driving down the road. You seen that?
Yeah.
There was a guy that had a couch. He was driving down the road. I was like, that's cool as hell.
Man.
That's innovative too.
That is cool. So
June and October.
We've been on here an hour already, guys. Y'all, you want to plug some of the shows that are coming up, Johnny?
Well, we got next week. We got OBW at the Manchester Music Hall. That's here in Lexington, Kentucky.
Somehow we got on the VIP list. I don't know how, but
we're the Nice Guy Andy podcast.
Exactly.
They roll out the red carpet for us.
Thanks, John. I appreciate you.
That's right. And then we got Appalachian Mountain Wrestling next week, February 24th. Bash in the Berg. And we're going to be seeing a whole new championship belt revealed.
If you guys haven't been to Appalachian Mountain Wrestling, get to a show, guys. It's just incredible. It's great. They always have a great show.
They got a great atmosphere, too.
Yeah, they always have a great show.
And then March 9th, Caverna Super Show for UCW, TCW, and USWF is going to be taking place because Terry England tells you so. You know what? You better pay him 10 cents. We had so much fun down there. When we got down there, we didn't know. Nobody knew that we were coming. And when we got down there, Jimmy Walls met us, and he treated us just like family, man. That was incredible. Thank you, guys. We've gotten to know Terry England a lot better now. Terry loves Johnny, and Johnny loves Terry, so they talk a lot. That's right. Terry England was the first person that ever booked me in the state of Kentucky. We always have a good time with those guys. And he likes to get his change, too. So you started up in Ohio, right? Indiana. Yeah, so technically, my first ever training, my first ever matches were in the arena. We were talking about the arena earlier. I loved it. I love it up there. I love the atmosphere up there. I've only been there once, and I really I think that we're going to start trying to go up there more often. March 8th, Paradigm Pro Wrestling, right there at the arena. So obviously, two tournaments going back to back. There's a high flyer tournament that night, and there's the heavy hitters tournament. Mm-hmm. WFI rules. Yeah. So obviously, it's Black History Month, and you're a black man. Is that okay to say black? Oh, shit, really? Okay. What does that mean for you? What does that mean for you? Like as far as being wrestlers, as far as everything about it. Black History Month with me, it's always a weird thing for me to talk about. Like personally, I love the fact that my history is acknowledged. I hate the fact that my history is relegated to a month. Yeah. Yep. Like I hate the fact that there's Black history. Like I wish it were just history. Well, I wish Black history could just become part of the regular curriculum. Well, I guess we see the point of them singling it out and trying to let everybody acknowledge it.
I guess we all see the point, and we all would we all really actually would love that to be possible. It should just be that.
Absolutely. You know, and again, I get it and I can appreciate it, but I also, you know, I'm 31. So most of my life, you know, or when I was in school growing up, there were certain aspects of, you know, the contributions of Black and brown people in America to history taught in school. But, you know, for example, my mom, you know, back in her day, you know, that wasn't a thing. You know, that was intentionally kept out of the curriculum. So things like Black History Week, which then became Black History Month, was almost necessary because it was a thing of, okay, there's absolutely no Black history being taught. Here's a little bit of history. Now shut up. We're going to go back to this. Yeah. I would love for us to hit a point where Black history was just a part of the curriculum. Kind of weird to me that, you know, an entire group of people's contributions to the world just sort of gets crammed into a month. Yeah. You know, at the same time, I do love the fact that there are things, you know, like Black History Month, Hispanic History Month. I think there's even like Pacific Islander, you know, appreciation. Like it's nice to be able. I hate the whole concept of, you know, the blending pot and let's never acknowledge each other's differences. Yeah. I think that has the potential to make America a great thing. Is the fact that we're different, is the fact that, you know, we have these differences. We should never hold ourselves bound by those differences, but we should absolutely acknowledge and celebrate those differences in us. You know, I heard the analogy made one time that America should not be a melting pot where everybody is put in the same one, you know, dish and made to like become this one monogamous, you know, conglomerate thing where nobody's any different than anybody else. We should be a salad bowl. In a salad bowl, you have lettuce, you have tomato. Everything is distinctly different, but it all works together to make this delicious meal that you're about to eat. Yeah. We should absolutely be able to acknowledge and celebrate and appreciate each other's differences. We shouldn't be bound by them. We shouldn't be separated by them. Nobody should ever be made to feel more or less important for them. We should absolutely be able to acknowledge those things.
Facts.
Yes, we should. We should.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well put. Because it's true. It should be like a salad bowl. Yeah. And not just a month. I don't understand why they have to do that, but they do that.
Yeah.
But I
think it's awesome. I think that I think that we should. It should, like you said, it should start at 1 month and then she could go into
and it become history.
I also I hate when certain things feel and not to anybody out there watching. I'm not going to hop on a political soapbox right now. I promise, but I also don't like when I feel like good things are done, but for the wrong reason. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Perfect example, when Juneteenth actually became an established federal holiday, that to me was a good thing, you know, and anybody who ever wants to, learn the history on that, it almost like it just talk to you, but it felt like a power play. It almost like it just showed up one day. Well, like it felt like a political move. And that to me is, kind of crap, because if it didn't feel like a political power play, it would have been really cool to actually be able to explain to people the importance of Juneteenth. Yeah. That's a real thing. That is an important day in history, not even just in Black history, but in the history
explain to our fans what Juneteenth means.
Juneteenth was the day that Juneteenth's the day that is celebrated because it's when the news of the Emancipation Proclamation reached Galveston, Texas. The Emancipation Proclamation had already been signed, that there was already a decree that was made. So slavery was technically abolished. The problem is, if you have a bunch of enslaved people who haven't been told that they're free yet, they're kind of still slaves. Exactly. When the news made its way to Galveston, Texas, it made it far enough through the South that at this point, the news of liberation had made it through all plantations. All enslaved people had finally been informed of their freedom. Yeah. So even though, yes, technically the end of the Civil War and the Emancipation Proclamation ended slavery, not all slaves knew that they were free.
And a lot of them stayed where they were because they didn't know anything different.
Yeah. Yeah. So Juneteenth marked, not technically officially, but it marked a significant pinpoint as to when slavery actually ended in America. Yeah. Because at that point, not only had the slaves been told, this was told to them by the Union Army. Yeah. So they were like, hey, this thing's kind of not here anymore. They're free to go. we're gonna make sure that they're fucking free to go. It was actually officially the information had been delivered and was now being enforced.
Okay.
You know, and that's a good thing. That's a cool thing. That's a dope thing. But since Juneteenth was, you know, sort of signed as an official holiday in what seemed very much like a political move, people were automatically turned off by it or just didn't care or didn't want to know what it was because it just seemed like, oh, liberal power play.
And a lot of people didn't. I'm glad you explained it because a lot of people didn't understand what it means, what it even means.
So again, I hate when good things are done, but it feels like they're done for the wrong reason.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
It feels tainted. It felt like a tainted victory. That's a fun word, taint.
So yeah, it is, right?
Yep, taint is.
So the black man and the black woman in professional wrestling, like, how do you feel about that? Like, how do you do you think that you're being you're being treated equally, or?
For the most part, yes.
Yeah.
In terms of wrestling business as a whole, yes. Certain pockets are always going to have that good old boys club mentality. Mm-hmm. And that's more of a cultural thing in those places versus even being a thing in wrestling. Yeah. You know, there very much are still, you know, certain challenges and certain obstacles, like as a black man in wrestling. But as a whole, you know, yes, I think the things are significantly better across the board. We were talking about Swerve earlier. You know, the fact that somebody like Swerve is being seen as, you know, world champion material.
Yep.
A lot of people's behind him too. They want that.
And it's off the back of his character, his speaking ability, and his in-ring ability. He didn't have to go out there and play into the stereotype. I remember when I first got into wrestling, I told myself there were certain things I just flat out wasn't going to do. I was never going to do any kind of dancing gimmick. I wasn't going to go out there and, you know, I wasn't going to go out and be a caricature. I didn't want to do any kind of shucking and jiving for anybody. And that's not to say that I have a problem with anybody else that does it.
Yeah.
But I hate the fact that, like, back in the day, it's what you had to do.
Yeah, like Cat Williams says, you put try to put black men in dresses.
Yeah, man.
Yep.
And you know, and
I can understand why he don't like it.
I'm going to be on that one, but like
we can talk about that if you want.
You got to do the shucking and jiving. You got to dance, or you got to have a rapping gimmick.
Yeah.
You got to have a gangster gimmick. I love that we're at a point now where I don't have to play into a stereotype to be able to be pushed or be promoted or to be, you know, actually advertised as a wrestler. I can actually go in off of my in-ring ability. I can go in off of my ability to talk, my ability to speak. I don't have to be a dancer. I don't have to be, you know, a gangster. I don't have to do the whole Nation of Domination thing. I can just be Omega, and that be good enough to make it.
Yeah.
And that's dope. You know,
it's kind of like they were doing the Samoans back in the day. They were doing. They had to be savages.
To be the savage. You didn't speak English. You were barefoot, and all of your movements were, you know, gross motor function. And like, the fact you don't have to do shit like that anymore is awesome. And I told myself a long time ago I would never allow myself to do any kind of gimmick like that. I was never going to portray an African. I was never going to do any type of like gangster gimmick, any kind of thug gimmick. I'm from the hood in Louisville.
Yeah, exactly.
But I am not a hood motherfucker, and I'm never going to carry myself like that, you know, because it's not who I am. So I sure as hell wasn't going to do it as like a gimmick to try and put myself over as something that I wasn't. Shelton Benjamin was always one of my favorite wrestlers, like as a kid.
Because he never did that.
Well, yeah. I mean, first and foremost, athletic as hell. Like one of the best athletes in WWE
powerhouse.
ever. Oh, yeah.
And the gold standard, too.
Yeah,
powerhouse.
Man. One of the best athletes WWE ever produced. And he never had to do that shit. Yeah. You know, he multi-time Intercontinental Champion, you know, long tenure in the WWE, first run and his second run, you know, as you know, when they brought him back as more like veteran guy. And he never had to do any of that.
Never.
And I appreciated that about him. He made it to the level and did the thing without having to do the other thing.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. You know, and again, that's not to say that I hate when other people do it. You know, Crime Time was entertaining. You know,
they were.
R-Truth is still doing, you know, the R-Truth thing. I hate when it's a thing that has to be done to be able to be that guy or to be able to be in certain positions or be able to, you know, be promoted to certain levels. When you got to play the character.
Bobby Lashley's kind of like that too. He's just the guy,
Lashley,
just a big tough
one.
Just a big tough guy, you know.
And even like when they did the Hurt Locker, you know, or not the Hurt Locker, the Hurt Business. You know, obviously the gimmick was that, you know, you took these 4 strong black men, you know, you put them together, but it wasn't a caricature of anything. It just so happened to be 4 strong, determined men who were also black. You know, they didn't change the way they talked. They didn't change the way they spoke.
It didn't
they
seem like
it didn't
seem a racist thing. It didn't seem like a race thing.
You know, and that was dope and stuff like that's always dope to see. And I get when certain things are done like in the moment or at the time. The Nation of Domination in the 90s, I got it. You know, I understood it. You know, because that's back when, you know, the Nation was like big on everybody's minds.
And placed on the
Louis Farrakhan was, you know, stirring up controversy everywhere. So like I got it.
I like listening to Louis.
And also Kofi Kingston, Bobby Lashley, and Big E are the first 3 black WWE champions.
Well, they were still they were doing that too to right to censor too, you know.
Yeah. But like so and like Kofi, for example, being WWE champion, that was a huge deal for black and brown people, but because the argument had always been made that they had been black world champions, and that's true. Yeah. You know, you had Booker T as world champion, you had Mark Henry as world champion. There had been black world champions, but whether intentional or not, it was always weird that there had never been a black WWE champion.
Exactly.
You know, there had been black people who had held a world title, but not the one with the big WWE logo on it.
Yep.
So it almost felt like, you know, okay, so are we good enough to be world champion, but not quite good enough to be the champion that represents the company itself?
Yeah.
Question mark, asterisk. You know, so when Kofi won, it got rid of the asterisk. Yeah. You know, Kofi held the belt with the company's logo on it. He was the WWE champion.
Did Bobby have it before that or no?
He got it after Kofi.
After Kofi, yeah. Okay.
Plus, that was just such a great organic moment because nobody's
saying it coming.
So, especially as a wrestler, when you yourself can just sit down and enjoy wrestling fully as a fan. You're not trying to fantasy book it in your head. You're not trying to pick the match apart. Oh, I wouldn't have done that. Oh, so and so was out of position with that. You just sit and be engulfed as a fan.
Yeah.
That's an awesome moment. I watched that match as a fan. I was leaning forward the entire time. Yes.
Did you think he was going to win? Did you think he was going to win?
I did not think he was going to win that match. I was genuinely shocked. I had little baby tears. Like I was genuinely shocked.
Yeah.
And then you see the reaction of like Xavier, you know, and Big E as they're like holding it up. If you watch the end of that match back and you look at Xavier as they're holding him up, brother can't even hold it in.
Oh,
like,
yeah,
I mean, he's just openly
like a baby.
weeping,
yeah.
you know, because that was such a cool moment. Nobody actually thought that was going to be a thing.
And the fact it was against Daniel Bryan taking his title.
I wonder if Xavier's ever going to get it.
No, there's possibility because Xavier's just as good as Kofi and them.
I know Kofi and Big E's had it, but I don't know if he.
That was actually a pretty good moment for Big E too, because he cashed in on Bobby Lashley.
Yeah, that was another one that, you know, Big E gets the Money in the Bank. They're like, okay, but are they really gonna let Big E? Holy hell, Big E's champion! Like that was another really cool moment.
Yeah, and that was great too, because now they're in history books as the first 3 to hold the WWE Championship, and it never had was.
I don't think
before.
I don't think he's ready to come back. But they just fired that guy from the talk show The Bump.
Yeah, Matt Camp.
I think they're going to replace him with Big E. I'm calling that right now.
I mean, it'd be a great idea to have Big E on there because he can talk.
I think Big E should take his place on that.
And Big E's funny, and The Bump is all about interviews and being funny.
Big E on like a talk show or a podcast. The whole big man slapping meat bit. Like everybody, that is still one of the funniest things.
Yeah, I don't think he's ready to get back in the ring, but I think I can see him doing that.
He wants a battle royal at WrestleMania. That's going to be the annual big meaty man slapping meat battle royal.
Yo, want your 5-star classics? That whole thing. That to me is just as iconic as like the Scott Steiner math promo.
Yep.
Like Big E talk about big men slapping meat. Like that's just it's. I used to watch that video. Like if I was having a shitty day, I would just watch that video, because he like can't even make it through it without making himself laugh.
Yeah. Exactly. Big E's one of those guys that when he started out, he didn't know if he was going to make it because they were giving him not so good booking. Then once they saw what they had and he skyrocketed with the New Day, you start seeing someone growing as a wrestler.
The New Day is incredible because they really never did a three-man like team.
And
like
they didn't do stereotype either.
Let them do, not a stereotype either. Let them do their own little thing.
So, and granted, it was their idea, But I don't think a lot of people remember that, like, when the New Day first started, it was almost supposed to be this, like, gospel gimmick.
Yeah.
And, like, that's why the intro sounded the way it did, because they were the choir that was, like, clapping and singing behind them. And they're all dressed in, like, blue and white, and they all came out skipping and clapping, and, like, it was...
And then it kind of
like
turned into
Then they
band,
turned heel.
Kind of like they were the guys from the
band.
It
was like when they turned heel because people weren't getting behind it, and the whole New Day suck chant started, and they started to lean into that, like, why don't people like us? And then they became the three annoying guys who didn't understand why people didn't like them, and they started, like, getting under people's skin.
Started bringing up booty-os, pancakes
that's
now,
some funny shit,
all that.
And then the heel work got so entertaining that people started cheering for them, and then they just became the most naturally over baby faces.
I think you're like that. I think that you've been a heel for so long that everybody just loves you because...
And I try my best to go back to making people mad, and it doesn't work anymore.
No,
I've
seen that.
I have tried to make people go back to hate me, and it just, like, doesn't work.
Yeah, you're just...
It's hard, too, because you got some great expressions when you're inside that ring. We saw that...
Heel don't work on you no more.
We saw that at XCF. At XCF... you had your arms hooked, and Adrian was taking you around the ring for everyone to chop you.
During that match, I couldn't tell who was heel. I just couldn't tell. I just couldn't tell who was heel. Like, some people were booing you, some people were cheering you, and I was like, who the hell's heel in this match?
The arena's always going to be weird because, again, I've been around the arena my entire career. So there's always going to be people at the arena that want to cheer for me. So even if, like, I'm working heel, there's always going to be, like, those few people who, it's still Omega.
Probably, like, I know they do, like, 3 or 4 different promotions there, so.
Brother, once upon a time, the arena used to run shows Monday through Sunday.
Wow.
Through, like, different promotions. Every single day of the week, there was somebody who ran Monday, 2 different people who ran Tuesdays, somebody who ran Wednesdays, somebody who ran Thursdays, like, a rotation of 5 companies that did Fridays, alternating Sundays between 2, and then, like, the company I first started with ran on Sundays.
Lexington needs a place like that. I wish Lexington had a place like that. That's my dream, is having a place where everybody can come. I don't want to own a promotion, but I'd love to have an arena.
Yeah.
Like, I would love to own it and be like, hey, guys, y'all just come to Lexington and put on shows.
Thing.
Yeah, I would love that. Lexington we don't have anybody running shows out of Lexington. You either got to go to Lawrenceburg or Frankfurt. It's just the rent's just too expensive.
I think when Anthony first started doing New South, he was running out of Lexington.
He was, but then
and then he moved it up to Lawrenceburg.
Well, they started. The Ice Center just went up on the rent. Like, they seen him packing the place, and he was making a profit. But then they're like, "Well, we want a piece of that.
You're doing well.
You're doing well. I want a piece of that."
Let's renegotiate, sir.
Yeah,
exactly.
they saw the money coming in. They're like, "We want a whole slice of that pie."
Work.
Did you work the one down there in Nicholasville? They just did one last year about, what was it, October? They did.
Yeah,
I don't think
November.
I'd worked the New South since summertime. We're probably looking like August.
Yeah.
I
I talked to Anthony the other day, and I don't know if he wants everybody to know, but he's going to start doing like 3 shows a year. He let the place go down there, the little arena that he had, and he's just going to do like 3 or 4 shows a year. He's going to keep it going. It's just, it's hard to have a little small promotion like that and try to book it good, because he was booking it great.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he was booking it great, and I know it was coming out of his pocket, booking all those people, man,
I had fun times down in New South, man. I had a couple of really good matches down there.
Yeah.
You did?
Yeah, we love seeing you.
And we were mostly private to those matches all the time. We only missed maybe 1 or 2 matches.
Yeah, those are all, that place is awesome. It really was. I wish it would have went over better than it did, but
the fact that Cowboy
people don't travel, like the people hardly don't, like, there's so much. I think there's so much wrestling on TV, and you can on YouTube and watch whatever, and we're probably part of it too, because you can get on Facebook and watch all their clips, but like nobody wants to come to the.
But there's nothing like being there in person. To the indie show.
There's nothing like that. Me and you and Omega know that, but a lot of people sitting at home don't understand that.
Like, they need to get off their asses and go and experience it, because them sitting at home, it's missing out on some great action. A lot of
people will only watch WWE or AEW.
And that's where they're wrong, because there's a lot of wrestling out there. It's not just WWE. It's not just television wrestling that's wrestling. There's all this great wrestling that they could be experiencing right now if they just show up and watch the show, because there's a lot of them inside the area.
Oh, yeah.
Especially places like Indiana, Indianapolis, Ohio, everywhere.
So, where are you mainly wrestling at? I'm Jeffersonville right now. Is that where you're mainly at?
So I do Paradigm the first Friday, usually the first Friday of the month. I've been kind of sporadic here recently. You know, I do Sin Pro Wrestling up in Ohio. I'm still haven't defended in a little bit, but I'm still the Big Time Wrestling heavyweight champion.
That's in Virginia.
For Big Time Wrestling out in West Virginia. Still go down to Tennessee for Tennessee Championship Wrestling. I've got next weekend. I have I have a nice little drive and turnaround. If there's anybody listening that wants to hop in the car with me next weekend, it is absolutely welcome. I got a seat wide open for you because that Friday I'm working for XCF at the arena in Jeffersonville.
Okay,
That's gonna be good.
Arena.
But that next night I'm in Algona, Iowa. So I'm literally going to have to finish that show at the arena, hop in my car, and drive through the night to Iowa.
Wow. You probably love that shit, don't you?
Man, normally, yeah. But, like, that's a stroke, and I got to do it, like, right after a show.
Yeah.
That one's going to be a little bit more of this.
Yeah. Omega needs a driver, so.
It's gonna be
right.
I don't need just somebody that can stay in the passenger seat and at least make conversation so I can get there
Exactly.
safe. You ain't even got to drive. I'll drive. I like driving. Just keep me awake. Be entertaining. Be amusing.
Recently, I was on a road trip with Marty Clay. Me and him was just sitting there on our way to TCW, and we're just having conversation, just joking around and all that. It was a fun conversation. We made there. It felt like it was only about 34 minutes that we got there. It didn't feel long. It didn't feel like 2 hours at all. As long as you got someone with you that can make good conversation, you get there safely and sound. You don't have to worry about no boring-ass trip.
I love messing with Marty because, like, one day Marty's voice just dropped. Like, I think I met Marty when he like just graduated high school, and then like one day his voice just like puberty finally caught up to him and his voice dropped, and then all of a sudden. Every time Marty Clay went somewhere, he sounded like this. Marty Clay sounded like somebody doing a bad Stone Cold impression. Like every time he would go to shake somebody's hand, he'd be like, "How you doing? I'm Marty Clay." And it's like, Marty, why are you talking like that? I don't know what you're talking about, Omega. Marty Clay always sounds like he should have like a can of dip in one hand and like an alligator snapping turtle in the other one.
Oh, yeah. He goes and catches them with his hands.
He's always doing that.
He reaches in there and just
Clay.
underneath.
After this show, I'm going to go catfishing with my bare hands. And like, Marty sounds like somebody doing a really shitty Stone Cold
I love
impression.
Marty. Marty is so awesome.
Yes.
He's such a good friend of this podcast. I could call him probably today, and I'm like, I need you on the show. He'd show up.
We've had him and Big John Gilbert on together. We've had Big John Gilbert with Nick Depp on here.
Big John Gilbert moved to Texas.
Really?
Yeah, he's
That's
down
what's
there.
up.
Fell in love, moved to Texas. Down there
He
wrestling.
loves that Texas.
Dude, Texas wrestling is incredible.
Yeah.
Like, I used to love going down. I used to work in Dallas a little bit,
Yeah,
and I always had a good time going down there.
yeah.
Texas wrestling's dope.
What do you think about this guy that you had your arms hooked behind you by Aiden, and you were going around the ring, and one of our guys, Sean Johns.
He didn't show up tonight because he knows.
Where you at, Sean? Feels a little intentional that you're not here tonight, Sean. What's up with that?
It does.
Uh-huh.
Sean, you watching?
Like he was talking all that big smack about.
We were talking about.
As soon as you got to him,
All right.
and he saw those eyes, he's like,
It's sort of,
and he's like, you saw the way he looked at me. I couldn't chop him as hard because he'll give me a receipt.
Yeah, but you're getting it anyway.
I mean, yeah, you're still going to get it, so you might as well just kind of
next time you get a chance to chop somebody, go ahead and give it all you got because
You're
you
still
know
getting a receipt.
you're getting that
You
receipt.
just did it when you had the chance because, I mean, you're still getting it. Like you're definitely still getting it.
I think you just made it. I think you almost made him pee himself when you looked at him like that.
Yeah.
You looked at him like,
Yeah, you had that.
He was
like, you do it, Sean.
oh, he
and
wanted.
I'll go haul off on
You know he wanted so bad just to slap you as hard as he could.
Yeah, because
Not that he got anything against you. He just
before,
wanted.
Before that, he saw you getting around. He's like, I don't want to do that. What's this? And then he goes over there, he gets his hands, he's like this,
and then you
nice
looked at him.
Like, I don't think I'm going to do this no more. I'm going to go sit down.
He lost that stroke. he lost that heat that he had.
He slapped you like a little girl.
That's okay, because he's still going to give receipt.
Oh, you
Right.
still, yeah.
He's still getting it, so he may as well.
He should have made sure that he actually tried to chop you instead of just doing what he did.
Yeah, we're getting you in here.
And that's why I feel like it's intentional they didn't show up like, oh, I can't come, guys. I can't come tonight, guys. You said Omega's going to be inside the studio.
Hey, Bobby Blade's watching. What's up, Bobby?
Bobby
Bobby
Blade.
Blade. That's a man right there that I respect.
Love Bobby Blade.
Bobby Blade's awesome.
He is awesome.
But anytime Bobby's on commentary and I'm making entrance, like, he makes me sound like the biggest deal in the world. And, like, I fucking love that. Anytime, somebody on commentary, ring announcers, referees, anybody, anytime anybody makes us seem, like, bigger or more important than we actually are, like, it's always awesome. And Bobby always makes me sound like a big deal when I come through.
Bobby's great for this.
Exactly.
He's great for Kentucky wrestling. He is
Absolutely.
awesome.
That's a sign of a great
into
announcer, too.
100%.
We're so glad he got back into wrestling because he was done. Like, when we first started the podcast, and he was done. He didn't have anything to do with wrestling.
Yeah.
And when we asked him to cut that promo that he always cuts at New South, he's like, I don't think I can do it. Then we got him to do it, and then you saw that spark light up inside his eyes. He started saying it with confidence.
Yeah, he got his spark right back in that chair right there where you're sitting in. He got his spark back.
Hey, Bobby's one of the
I'll never go back. I'll never go back. And then, like, now he's
50 and fat tour, and now it's 51 and
now he's back doing it.
We're just going to keep scratching off that back number and, adding a new one to it.
There's no
52, 53.
There's no reason for him to retire. There's no
Absolutely
just
not.
like
because
Vic.
he's got that knowledge.
Just like
right
Vic,
here.
there's no reason for him to retire. He can be a manager. He could be announcer.
He can help the new crop of wrestlers.
Man, look,
they
they may have decided that they done with the wrestling business. The wrestling business ain't done with them yet.
No,
both of them still have way too much to give to the wrestling business. They're still needed. That we don't necessarily need their bodies anymore. We don't necessarily need them to give anymore in the ring. Like they've paid more than enough physically, but their minds, like Kentucky wrestling, still needs minds like Bobby Blade, still needs minds like Vic the Bruiser, guys like Tuffy, guys like Stan Sierra, guys like Chris Michaels. Like even when they hang up the boots, like we still need minds like that.
exactly.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of them that can still get back with their minds. They don't
Larry.
have to get
And we
tired.
love to have
Larry hung it
those
up.
guys in here.
And even still, like Larry is one of those guys that I'm so happy still around because he has so much to give still to Kentucky wrestling.
When they put on a show down there at Gen Next, they put on a damn show, don't
Yes,
they?
they
They
do.
bring in everybody. Like, that's incredible. I know we've missed the last couple shows, but I still watch and see who's going to be there and see what's going to be on it. And
Yeah,
I still
Josh
watch from
Alexander.
afar. But yeah, they book everybody. That show is incredible.
Oh yeah.
And they pack the house, don't they?
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
Especially when we were doing bar brawl and we were coming there. They had everybody there.
No, Bar Brawl was crazy. But these new shows that they've been doing, they've been packing the house down there.
Yes, they have. Josh Alexander was there. Ace Perry's been there. Gen X, they do a hell of a job.
They do. I
That's
did one for him. I did one for Larry back in December, and went and wrestled Brandon Taggart. Like
Yep.
we had an awesome match together. Like Larry's always been able to do great things like that though.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I wish he'd come on the show. Larry, come on the show.
He's a busy man, though, you know.
He's a busy man. We haven't got him to be in here yet. We'd love to get Max in here, too.
Because they got knowledge up here that they could be spilling through here.
Max is so funny, dude. He is hilarious. I
Hey,
love talking to him. He's
Hey,
awesome.
It may not look like it, but anytime we have veterans on here that's legends and they speaking here, the young crop of wrestlers do always tend to come to the comment section.
And they have an underrated and a lot of people talk about that. The school they have.
Yeah.
The
Legends Academy.
Legends Academy is so underrated. It's so, like, I don't think it's talked about enough. It should be talked about more.
So before Larry actually started running Legends Academy officially, I think he had a few people that he was helping train, and back when Larry was still running shows in Georgetown, Kentucky, at the flea market, he would, I guess, work with his trainees before the shows, but he would bring down some of Roger Ruffin's trainees from NWF at the time and let them get a little bit of ring time in before the shows and work with them on stuff. But then he had like this sort of open policy where you could come down, help set up the ring, help tear down afterwards, and he would give you ring time. He would he would let you work with his trainees. He would help you with certain things. Him and Ronnie Roberts would work on you with different stuff. So like when I was in my first and second year, I had done that a couple of times with him, and I had to learn a lot from Larry back in. And to this day, Larry's still one of those guys that even up to the point that he retired. Larry, if me and Larry were in the same locker room, he was one of the guys hey Larry, I'm up semi, keep watching me. Oh yeah, I got you, brother, I got you. And as soon as I would get back to the back, Larry was always right there with feedback.
Yeah.
I used to love picking Larry's mind on stuff.
Yeah.
That's the best way too.
Absolutely.
Because guys like that, they can offer you advice on what you should be doing, what you shouldn't do, and what they think would be best for you.
Larry was very good at, especially early on. Like I would overthink certain things, and I wouldn't think certain things all the way through. So I would do certain things like not knowing that I was unintentionally handicapping myself. And I remember like performing something in front of Larry where I took three things and like squished them together. And Larry was like, "Why? Why would you do that?" And I was like,
"Yeah,
what do you mean?" It's like any one of those things individually should have probably ended a match. You did all three of them at the same time or back to back to back, and brother still kicked out at 2. Like, you're twice the size. Why did you do that?
Yeah.
And stuff like that, especially when you're, starting out and you're fresh and you're just super excited to go do the things. You need people like Larry to make the things you're doing make sense.
Whenever I've watched Larry in the ring, and you can notice that he tells a story with every move he makes. Like every wrestling move he makes with the other guy, it's telling a story. And not a lot of people understand that part about it.
Exactly.
Yeah, so he slows it down kind of and pays and tells a story when he does that,
he
or
makes
does
every
that,
move
or does
count.
that. It means something. It's done for a reason. When you can watch Larry. I've watched him wrestle quite a few times. I'm always impressed by that about Larry.
Same.
I got to wrestle Larry.
And you got to
once.
wrestle him in actually ring. So.
Yeah, I only ever wrestled Larry once. I'm really happy that it happened because I think he announced that he was retiring the next like a year after that.
Yeah,
so it was one of the few people. Yeah, so it was like not too far before. I think he had made.
You wrestled him up at big time, right?
Yep, I'm West Virginia. That was my first time ever wrestling in West Virginia.
Yeah,
me and Larry had wrestled, and it was fun. It was fun. It was physical, and it was good, man.
Yeah,
I love when I have matches that I still get to learn from, and that's how it is. That's how it feels when I get to wrestle people like Larry. It's a learning experience. It's how it was when I wrestled Tom Lawler. It was a learning experience, and it was fun.
When's that? We're gonna be able to watch that match. The one you just had.
Should be hitting Fight TV on Friday.
Fight TV on Friday, guys.
That's right. Fight TV on Friday. It's a match you don't want to miss.
God damn, I still feel that match.
Yeah.
We almost through February. That match happened, January 5th, and I still feel that match.
So we're coming up on almost an hour and 45 minutes. Is there anything that you want to talk about that you have to say? Is there any place that you want to promote any shows that you're going to be at soon, or let everybody know what's going on with Omega?
I'm just out here trying to keep my head above water, man.
I feel
that. Like everybody else in the world, I've got my own shit going on. I think everybody does.
Everybody
does. I know it's the it's
the
cliche saying, it's the I'm just trying to take it a day at a time.
Yeah.
There's no other way to take time. We're all taking time a day at a time.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm out here taking it a day at a time right now.
It's all about doing your best.
You keeping your mind straight, keeping your
perspective's been a huge thing for me. The old folks used to say counting your blessings. That's been a very, very important thing for me here lately.
Yeah.
I started a new job earlier this week, actually,
Okay.
at one of the middle schools not too far from where I live, working as an instructional aide with their alternative program in their special education department.
Yeah.
And that's been incredible.
Yeah,
I've
we
had,
really
an
know-
awesome experience doing that so far.
You talked about that last time you were in here. We was really impressed by that.
Dude,
Yep.
it's been great. I've absolutely loved it. So I'm very grateful for that. I've had some awesome wrestling opportunities this year already.
Yeah.
Incredibly grateful for that. My baby girl, she's strong, healthy, getting smarter every single day. I'm incredibly thankful for that. So like I said, I got my own stuff going on in life, but I think everybody does.
Everybody does.
It's rough out here right now. Everybody's got, and I think that's why you don't have to walk around smiling at everybody. You ain't got to walk on eggshells with people. But just trying to show basic human compassion is so fucking important right now.
Yeah.
Because nobody knows what anybody else is really struggling with.
Exactly.
And we all have so much shit going on right now. The world's a scary fucking place right now.
Yeah.
We're quickly headed towards a fucking recession. Everybody's, finances is a little tight right now. There's so much tension when it comes to so many things. We're all overworked. We're all underpaid. We're all tired. And, a lot of us are walking on eggshells with ourselves right now.
Exactly.
It's just very important to just treat everybody with as much human decency as you can right now.
Yeah, and
To
then
show respect.
always remember,
Absolutely.
guys, that you can try and try and try, but sometimes some things just don't work.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just got to move on to the next thing.
Yeah.
This is definitely one of those years that I would definitely say to everybody, find your peace and protect it by any means necessary. I remember reading a quote towards the end of last year that said, "My life changed when I accepted the fact that I did not have to live life the way I've been told I had to." And that's big, man. Like, we all have the right to be happy in the ways that we need to be, in the ways that we want to be, and in the ways we deserve to be. I would love to see everybody find their own inner peace this year. And like I said, when you find it, do whatever the hell you got to do to protect that. If that means being more selfless, do that. If that means being more selfish, do that.
Exactly.
A lot of us have boundary issues, man. A lot of us have problems saying no. I can openly admit it. I have a hard time with the word no. Mm-hmm. I have a hard time saying no to people.
Yeah.
I overextend myself
Yeah,
often.
and you find yourself just doing for everybody else, and then you look up and like you feel like that nobody's done shit for you, and you're like, come on, like, can I just get a little bit back? You know what I'm saying?
You feel drained. Like you pour and pour and pour into other people, and then when it comes time to your shit and your shit happens, you don't have anything left from yourself.
Exactly.
So sometimes you have to protecting your peace is gonna look selfish. It's gonna be you putting yourself first. Mm-hmm. And we've
And
been
it's not,
trained.
though.
We've been trained, put other people first, and that's a great concept. But if you always do that, then when your hard shit comes, you don't have anything left.
Yeah, and then you don't have anything to give back to the other people either if you don't take care of you.
Exactly.
You got to take care of you so you can give back to other people. And sometimes you do have to be selfish and you have to do exactly what you want to do because we're not on this earth for a long time.
We live a short life.
We only get about 80 years, 90 years
or
at
sometimes
the most.
just 100, or we don't even get that. Sometimes we die at 30.
Yeah. So you guys live your life to the fullest.
Absolutely.
And always remember that if you give your all to someone else, and always expect that they may not reciprocate the same way as you do.
I've had to do a lot of self-evaluation, over about the past 12 to 15 months. I've had to do a lot of self-evaluation and a lot of evaluating in certain situations and certain people around me. And, there's a lot of reflection that comes with it. There's a lot of acceptance that comes with, certain aspects and certain attributes that you don't necessarily like about yourself. And, a desire to change certain things in yourself. And even more so when it comes to the people around you. Mm-hmm. And then when you start doing both of those things together, it gets scary sometimes. You start working on yourself and you have to face some of your own demons and you're like, ugh. And when you start to feel better from that, it makes you start really wanting to address other things around you. But then some of those things start crumbling and you're like, holy hell, like it gets overwhelming sometimes. but it's still one of those things that I think we all have to do to be able to grow, as people. We're constantly, I tell people all the time, if I ain't talked to you in the last 5 years, don't talk to me like you know me. Reintroduce yourself. You don't know me.
Yeah.
Whoever that motherfucker was 5 years ago.
That's
like people who knew you when you were, I turned 31 this year. People who knew me when I was like in college, who have not seen me since college, who still talk about me, it's like, no, stop talking about me. You don't fucking know me.
Yeah.
I am not that person. I don't think I'm the person I was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm the person I was this time last year. I sure as hell ain't the person I was when I was 22 years old.
Damn straight.
Yeah, you gotta evolve in this life.
Because I'm 34 and I feel the same way.
Man, like you have to. And to be able to have those kind of conversations with yourself, you're going to find some ugly shit. You're going to find a lot of stuff that you don't like about yourself. You're going to find a lot of stuff that you don't want to accept about yourself.
I think a lot of people don't, they latch onto other people too, and they don't know themselves. And they like, I always tell people, hey, before you even go into a relationship with somebody, be able to sit at the crib by yourself and enjoy yourself. Just be in there with yourself. If you can't enjoy you, then how you expect somebody else to?
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Because you got to find
100%.
something about yourself that you love.
Yeah. So try to like you first, and then ask somebody to like you. Don't be out here, like me, make me feel good,
Yeah,
make me be a better person by somebody else. Nobody's gonna make you a better person. Nobody's gonna make you happy. Nobody's gonna make you or give you happiness or that. That's all up to you. You gotta find that yourself.
What you love about yourself.
You gotta find that yourself.
You have to be able to. At the end of the day, that person could disappear.
Yep.
You could wake up and that person could be gone because they physically ran away.
Yeah.
They could pass. And then at that point, what do? Do you just magically stop loving yourself now? Is there automatically nothing to you anymore because that person's physically not here?
Yeah.
It don't work like that.
Yeah.
You have to be able to keep going.
And even in like relationships, a person like we can't be doing that. We can't do the same thing all the time. You got to do something, and I got to do something. That way, when we get together, we got some shit to talk about. I'm gonna talk about your shit. You can talk about my shit. Exactly.
Like to me, it's really cool when two people, kind of like how we talked about the salad bowl earlier.
Yep.
Relationships, I think, should be very much the same thing. You have two people who have their own distinct identities that coexist together. Both people should be able to be in the same room doing vastly opposite things, but just being able to enjoy each other's company, being able to enjoy each other's presence.
Exactly.
That's a cool thing. That's a big thing.
That way we can even talk
That's
about,
the most
what are you doing
important
over there? Oh, I'm doing this and this and that. What are you doing over there? I'm doing this and this and that. Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Yeah.
And you both have mutual understanding.
It ain't the same thing. Like, I get bored. Like, I don't want to talk about me all the time. So if you're doing the same thing I'm doing, then we ain't got shit to talk about.
Exactly. And I'm the kind of person that, I love learning about different things. I love doing different stuff, outside of my wheelhouse. So when I'm around other people who do different things besides the things I normally do, that's fun to me. Yeah. I love getting to learn new activities. I love getting to learn new stuff. Plus, even back when I was in high school, I never really clicked up because I don't want to be surrounded by people who are too much like me.
Exactly.
I like being surrounded by people that are different to me. If you look across my closest friends group, they're mostly Muslim. Yeah. I myself grew up in a Southern Baptist church. I have friends from different parts of the world. I have friends who are into certain things. I have friends who, music's always a great example. I've got friends who are rappers. I've got friends who are in fucking, death metal bands. I've got friends who do country music. I have friends who are, classically trained pianists. I love being around different groups of people. It keeps shit amusing to me. It keeps shit entertaining to me.
Exactly.
It's fun to me. I get bored when I'm around the same stuff over and over and over again.
Exactly.
Yeah. I hate people that say, oh, I just listen to this kind of music. I'm like,
you a boring motherfucker.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I only watch this show or that show. Wrestling, what is that? Why do you watch that? Or why do you watch this?
Wrestling has...
It just don't make no sense. Keep your mind open and listen. You don't know. Don't sit there and make up an opinion about somebody or something because somebody else told you that's what it's about. My father always tells me, he says, that piece of paper right there lets you write anything you want on it. That don't mean it's true, and that don't mean it's going to happen.
I like it.
Yeah.
I'm holding on to that one. I
Yeah,
like it.
that don't mean it's going to happen.
That's a good one too.
Well, I think we're going to end the show here, man. Thank you so much for coming. It's always nice talking to you.
Always a pleasure to be here, man.
Such an intelligent person. I can tell that you just sit there and you're very cerebral, and you think about a lot of stuff, and you have a lot of things to talk about, because we didn't have no quiet time here. We all just sit here and talked and had a really great discussion.
That's the
How
best
it should
part,
be,
though.
man. Exactly.
At this part of the show, I'll let everybody say their buys. Johnny, go first.
I just want to say thank you to everyone that's tuned in tonight. Omega, it's always a pleasure to have you in. Sean Johns, you got a receipt coming. That's all there is to it.
Exactly.
Andy, thank you for being a good host.
Well, I try,
And everyone at home, stay nice and try to find something about yourself that you love.
Love it.
You go next.
I mean, obviously, I want to thank y'all for letting me be here. It's always a good time.
Yeah.
Anytime I get to link up with y'all, man.
Yeah.
Whether it's been at a show, whether it's been here on the podcast, it's always fun to be had. Like I said, let this be the year. Find your peace. Protect your peace at all costs. Be good to other people. Be good to yourself. Be good to yourself. We're all way, way, way too critical and way too harsh to ourselves. I promise you're doing a much better job than you think you are. You're way further than you think you are, and you have no idea how close you are to that thing that you're looking for.
Yeah.
Be patient. Be good to yourself. Be good to other people. Find your peace and protect that shit at all costs.
And I'm going to add to that I want to add to that. Sometimes you got to tell a motherfucker to go fuck off, too. that you know what I'm saying? You just got to say, hey, that one motherfucker is like, hey, go fuck off, dude.
Don't be afraid to walk away, man. Do not be afraid to walk away.
Yep.
Guys, I want to thank everybody for watching us tonight. I know we wasn't on our regular Facebook page like we always are, but we tried. I don't know what the technical difficulty is about, but that we're always on YouTube, X, Twitter, Twitch, and Facebook. So thank you guys for tuning in. Go over to the Nice Guy Andy podcast Facebook page, comment, share, like, comment on the comments. Y'all get over there and just talk a bunch of shit. I don't care. If y'all say something negative, I'm talking about your mama.
That's right.
I don't know your mama, so I'm not really talking about her, but I'm gonna talk some shit to you.
Your mama joke.
So don't get too bent out of shape. We're just trying to have fun over there. So, guys, go on to all of our reels and like those, comment on all that stuff, on any of our content. Go over to YouTube and subscribe. We're growing on YouTube, guys. We are very, very close to 1,000 subscribers. We got to get our views up over there on YouTube. I know a lot of y'all watch us on Facebook. Go over to YouTube and watch us a little bit. Just give us some likes and some content views over there. So, guys, all I say is thank you, Mega, for coming in. Thank you for letting us know a lot about what you're doing and where you're at. And Johnny, thank you for always being by my side, man, and being my friend. And anybody that I've pissed off today, I really apologize if I've pissed you off or hurt your feelings in any way. I had an incident earlier that I pissed somebody off completely, and I really didn't mean to. And I tried to explain myself to them, and through text, it always seems like you're being sarcastic. Or I hate text because text or messages is like you don't know where the person's coming from. You can say so, or you can say so, So, but I do apologize to anybody that I've pissed off today on Facebook or anywhere. So I didn't mean to. We really around here, the Nice Guy Andy podcast, really just want to promote independent wrestling, promote independent music, anything that's independent. Anybody that wants us to help promote them, just holler at us. And anybody that doesn't like us, please tell us that you don't like us. Like we don't care. That way we won't fuck with you no more. Like if you do not like me or you do not like Johnny, just sit there and tell us. And don't go on your social media and say this person, that person. I really want you to say my name. Like tell them, say, hey, Andrew over there at the Nice Guy Andy podcast, you suck. That way I won't fuck with you no more. You know what I'm saying? I really want to know. I don't want to spend my energy on somebody that don't like me or don't want me to Like,
because it's not worth the time. Y'all.
It's not. I got other people that want to be promoted. I got other people that want to fuck with us. And I ain't gonna take it personal. If you just don't like me, you think we're fucking dumb, nerdy looking, ugly guys, or we're just, you may think we're just pieces of shit, and we may be. I don't know, but I don't see us as that way. But and some people don't. But some people do. Some people don't like us. So if you don't fuck with me, just let me know. Message me. Y'all know where I'm at. And goodbye. I love all you guys. And if you're not having fun, Johnny,
you ain't getting none.
Yeah,
damn Skippy. Yeet, yeet.
Nice Guy Andy Podcast. Skullface Records Radio.
If he keeps popping off at the mouth, I'm gonna be his daddy.
That ain't what your mama said.
Ooh, yeah!
Those were expensive shoes.
Ooh, yeah!
Watch the Nice Guy Andy podcast.
This is a show where I'm telling you now, meditate, elevate, and dominate. Do it with the Nice Guy Indy podcast.
Anyways, you guys go on your little rinky-dink
bullshit podcast.
We are Rinky.